Salty sea wind rushed straight into his nostrils. Chen Guochen stumbled and crashed heavily onto the stony ground. The dizziness from the overturned dormitory chair still lingered in his head. Propping himself up off the ground, he lifted his gaze. He saw nothing but boundless sapphire sea. Waves crashed against the island's edge, sending fine white spray flying. Apart from the small islet beneath him, there was not a trace of other land as far as the eye could see. No way. I just got into a top university. 12 years of grueling study, and I finally made it. Only to get dragged into a transmigration plot? Wait, my military training, the senior school beauties, my university life. Don't tell me it's all gone. Chen Guochen rubbed his throbbing forehead. He had only just set foot on campus and hadn't even spent a single night there. Yet here he stood, stranded on a lone island. He pinched himself, and sharp pain shot through his skin. This was no dream. Right then, an icy, emotionless mechanical voice boomed without warning deep inside his mind. Ding! Universal transmigration complete. Minors have been transported beside random family members. All individuals over 30 have been reset to the age of 30. Those suffering injuries, illnesses, or disabilities have been restored to perfect health. Check the system interface for full details. Remember, this world is deadly. Fight to survive. The voice faded completely, leaving only a faint buzzing hum. Chen Guochen froze for 2 seconds, then his eyes lit up. Universal transmigration, a system, Ocean Islands. As an avid reader of online novels, he knew this setup all too well. Instead of panicking as most would, he rubbed his hands together with quiet excitement and whispered mentally, System? Open interface. The moment the thought formed, a pale blue, translucent panel materialized in front of him. The layout was neat and concise, lined with modules. Modules include announcements, weather, personal profile, island panel, region chat, trade market, and more. Pretty functional, Chen Guochen muttered. He tapped the topmost announcements tab first. A new window unfolded, revealing 7 clear rules. The island beneath your feet is your starting isle. You may bind it now or later. Certain islands possess unique special effects. This world has drastic temperature swings between day and night. Keep warm. Nights are extremely dangerous. Avoid leaving your island whenever possible. The first 7 days constitute the newcomer protection period. Bound islands are completely safe within their boundaries. You will receive a fishing rod upon binding. Every person awakens 1 talent. Check your profile for details. Natural disasters strike at random intervals. Island tier is critical for survival. This is a paradise for the strong and a hell for the weak, and your chance to begin anew. Chen Guochen skimmed the text rapidly and sorted out the key points. Binding an island granted 7 days of safety plus a starting fishing rod. Never stray offshore after dark. Everyone possessed a talent. Periodic disasters would occur. The protection period lasts 7 days. First priority is securing basic survival resources. He closed the announcement panel and opened his personal profile. Name, Chen Guochen. Tier, rank 0. Talent, not yet drawn. Comprehensive evaluation. Seen weaklings before, but never someone this unremarkable. The corner of Chen Guochen's mouth twitched. The system throws petty insults too? Ignoring the stinging evaluation, he fixed his eyes on the line. Not yet drawn. Talents were the core of survival and the key to pulling ahead of others. Taking a deep breath, he thought, draw talent. Ding. Congratulations, you have obtained talent. Sharing. Talent grade, mythic unique. Talent effects. You may share properties of nearly any item, excluding a tiny number of special artifacts. If the target's tier is equal to or lower than yours, all properties can be shared in full. If the target's tier exceeds yours, only one random basic property will be shared. The original item suffers 0 damage or consumption during sharing. The maximum number of items you can share simultaneously depends on your tier. Limit 1. As the panel faded away, Chen Guochen stared blankly for a moment. Sharing? On the surface, it sounded lacking in offensive power. He had read countless novels claiming support-type talents were the weakest in early stages. Many people would lose heart instantly upon receiving one. Yet drawing on years of experience exploiting loopholes in games, he instantly brainstormed dozens of applications. If he shared rock hardness, would his body gain armor? If he shared a weapon's attack properties, could he boost his own striking power? Would that let him achieve perfect harmony with any weapon, unstoppable against foes? Full property access against equal or lower tier targets. A random bonus against higher tier opponents. And the original item remains untouched. This was no useless talent. It was a god-tier ability to freely borrow the power of everything around him, at 0 cost. Chen Guochen suppressed his surge of joy and held off testing it. Per the system notice, binding the island was the most urgent task. He activated the insight skill toward the rocky islet under his feet. Information surfaced immediately. Island name, Starvane Resonance Isle. Tier, Rank 1 Wild Isle. Area, roughly 100 square meters. Structures, none. Resources, none. Island owner, vacant. Upgrade requirements, stone times 50, soil times 100. Island evaluation, the island's terrestrial veins connect to the starry sky, forming a natural Starforce resonance field. It passively absorbs stellar energy at night and is slowly evolving. Chen Guoqian's eyes lit up sharply. He had assumed he landed on a generic starting islet, but this one carried a special passive effect. Starforce resonance, stellar energy absorption, ongoing evolution. This was the textbook lucky opening for a protagonist. Moreover, endless ocean stretched in every direction. Not a single boat or other island was visible. It would be utter foolishness to abandon a special isle and gamble blindly in open waters searching for ordinary land. Bind. Chen Guoqian made up his mind instantly. Ding. Starvane Resonance Isle binding successful. You are the sole owner of this island. Newcomer reward. Fishing rod delivered to system storage. Please check. The moment the notification echoed, a faint warmth spread upward through the reef beneath him, forging a subtle invisible link between him and the isle. With a thought, Chen Guoqian summoned the dark brown wooden fishing rod. Its design was plain and unadorned. Only now did he finally relax and stand to survey his new territory. The entire islet was smaller than half a basketball court. Rugged dark gray reefs lined its edges. No proper vegetation grew here, only scattered clumps of withered yellow weeds. Waves crashed against the shore, salt-laden wind sweeping across the land. Above stretched a clear blue sky, merging with the sea at the horizon. There was no sign of humanity anywhere. Chen Guoqian glanced out over the churning waves, then stared down at his own hands. There was no point lamenting his fate. Since there was no way back, he might as well adapt and endure. Chen Guoqian brushed sand off his palms and quickly adjusted his mindset. Compared to his initial shock and despair, he now held two major advantages: a mythic tier talent and a special starting island. By all measures, his opening was far better than most survivors. Another thought, and the simple dark brown fishing rod materialized in his grasp. It possessed a smooth, warm wooden texture, polished clean without extra ornamentation, nearly identical to ordinary sea fishing rods sold in tackle shops. Chen Guoqian used insight on the rod. Name, fishing rod. Tier, rank 1. Description, standard survival tool for island dwellers. Matches your island's tier. Grants 5 free fishing attempts daily, resetting at midnight. Possible catches, basic survival supplies, blueprints, wooden chests, iron chests very low chance, special chests extremely low chance. You may also hook sea monsters or come up empty-handed. 5 casts per day, and there's still a chance to catch nothing. Pretty stingy. Plenty of unlucky survivors will be weeping, while the lucky ones celebrate wildly. I wonder which camp I fall into, Chen Guoqian mused. Without boats or other tools at this early stage, and with an utterly barren island, the fishing rod was his only steady source of supplies. Everything rested on these 5 daily casts. Those with fragile spirits would probably kneel and pray to the ocean already. Instead of casting right away, he first opened the chat channel. The default channel was Region 666, housing 100,000 survivors. Each user could send only 10 messages per day. Mom, Dad, where are you? Help. There's nothing but ocean all around me. What even is this place? I awakened the giant strength talent. I feel strong. Giant strength is nothing. I have water manipulation. The ocean is my playground. Ugh, I got fire starting proficiency. What good is that? I can't even find firewood on this desolate island. Has anyone caught anything? I cast twice and got nothing. This fishing rod is garbage. Anyone landed on a special island? The announcement said some have unique effects. Mine's completely bare. My island seems to naturally attract schools of fish. Not sure if that counts. I've grown younger. This feels incredible. My dream came true. I've really transmigrated into a survival world. Ha ha. Another person losing their mind. Wails, pleas for help, boasts and inquiries flooded the feed, a raw snapshot of humanity facing catastrophe. Most people remained trapped in panic and confusion. A small number who awakened powerful talents drew floods of envy whenever they shared their luck. Chen Guoqian skimmed for a while, then closed the regional chat, choosing not to send any messages. Quietly accumulating strength was the wisest choice. Those who flaunted their luck early would suffer greater humiliation once gaps widened later. He then opened the world channel. More than 7 billion people inhabited this world, yet messaging functions remained locked for unknown reasons. Next came the trade market. Unlike the bustling chat channel, the marketplace was eerily quiet, with barely any listings. And many were absurd. Offers like trading weeds for food, plain seawater for fresh water dotted the board. Only a few reasonable exchanges existed, such as timber for rations and soil for fresh water. It made sense. Less than an hour had passed since transmigration. Everyone struggled to sustain themselves, and few possessed surplus goods to trade. Chen Guoqian closed the market after a brief scan. He knew it would only truly become useful once survivors stockpiled extra resources. All right, time to get to work. He walked to the island's edge, set up the fishing rod, and cast the line into the sea. The sinker dragged the hook beneath the waves, leaving only the float bobbing atop the surf. Chen Guoqian held off activating his sharing talent for now. He intended to fish normally first. Record the typical loot from a rank 1 rod to establish a baseline. Afterwards, he would test the talent for comparison and verify his theories about its capabilities. His first cast lasted roughly 3 minutes. The float suddenly plunged sharply. Got one. Chen Guoqian tensed his wrist and hauled the rod upward steadily. The fishing line stretched taut. The pull from beneath the waves was mild, and he reeled in his catch. With a splash, his prize broke the surface. Instead of fish, a sealed plastic water bottle dangled from the hook. Ding. Obtained. Fresh water times 1 liter. Not a bad start. Chen Guoqian smiled and stowed the item. System storage contained 20 slots. Each slot could hold one type of item, stacking up to 99 units. Raw materials were tracked directly on the system panel, just like in a video game. A single liter of fresh water, used sparingly, could sustain him for 2 to 3 days. His drinking needs were solved immediately. Still, it struck him as bizarre to pull fresh water straight out of the ocean. He rebaited the hook and cast again. The second wait dragged on longer, 5 or 6 minutes passing before the float dove downward with far greater force. Chen Guoqian leaned into the pull. As the catch surfaced, pale brown timber came into view. A square wooden chest roughly 40 centimeters on each side, carved with simple patterns. Ding. Obtained. Wooden chest times 1. Nice, luck's holding up. Chen Guoqian lifted the chest and used insight to examine it. Name, wooden chest. Tier, rank 1. Description, randomly yields 1 to 3 common items upon opening. He pried open the latch, and the lid swung open. Inside lay a rolled blueprint, 12 uniform chunks of stone, and 2 loaves of bread. Obtained. Stone axe blueprint times 1, stone times 12, bread times 2. These were exactly the basic materials needed to upgrade his island. The quantity was modest, yet something was better than nothing. Every beginning was difficult. After 2 casts, he secured food, drinking water, a crafting blueprint, and upgrade materials. Ordinary survivors would be overjoyed at such haul, but Chen Guoqian craved more. He prepared for his 3rd cast. Ding. This fishing attempt yielded no catch. Ding. Obtained. Timber times 3. Pulling timber out of open water made him pause in amusement. Ding. Obtained. Foodkin times 2. His 5 daily attempts were exhausted. Chen Guoqian stared down at the fishing rod, anticipation flickering in his eyes. He had earned solid rewards through standard fishing. What would happen if he shared the rod's properties? He activated sharing on the fishing rod and declared aloud with flair. Share. Notes on tier classification for items. Common, fine, excellent, rare, perfect, transcendent, epic, legendary, mythic. Combat tier classification ascending, rank 1 through rank 9. Chest ranks, wooden, iron, silver, gold, platinum, diamond, epic, legendary, mythic. Share. The instant the thought echoed, cool wooden energy traveled up his palm and wrist like a faint electric current, spreading through every limb. Chen Guoqian glanced at the intact fishing rod in his grasp. Yet his body had gained a strange new sense. It felt as if he himself had turned into a fishing rod. He could clearly tell he had successfully shared the rod's core property, the ability to fish resources from this ocean. Can this really work? Curiosity stirred inside him as he flexed his fingers. Lucky to succeed on the first sharing attempt. The rod's primary function was harvesting supplies from the sea. Now that property belonged to him. Did that mean he could fish using only his bare hand? The idea sounded absurd even to himself. Still, absurdity aside, there was no cost to testing it. He walked to the island's edge, leaned over the reef, and stared at the churning waves for several seconds. Recalling how the hook sank during normal fishing, he slowly dipped his right hand into seawater. The moment icy seawater wrapped around his palm, the world shifted entirely. The blue ocean, distant horizon, and tiny islet beneath his feet all vanished. In their place stretched an endless pale blue, glowing void. Countless items of all sizes drifted slowly through this space. Basic supplies such as bread, fresh water, and lumber, gleaming chests and rolled blueprints. And farther away, faint glowing orbs that were clearly priceless treasures. Chen Guoqian stared in shock. This was the realm the fishing rod accessed to draw supplies. No wonder it could pull all manner of goods from the open sea. Yet the starting fishing rod seemed surprisingly powerful. Who created all these items? He pushed the question aside. Survival remained his top priority. He attempted to move, discovering only his right hand could operate within this void, limited to a fixed range like a fishing line. The luminous rare items floating far out of reach stayed beyond his grasp, no matter how he stretched. So I'm stuck with short-range fishing? Chen Guoqian could not help complaining silently. Others cast rods to reach far distances, and I just wait for loot to drift within arm's reach. Despite his grumbling, he quickly understood the rules. Resources drifted slowly along invisible currents. All he could do was wait patiently and grab items once they entered his capture radius. The 5 daily attempt limit still applied. Every item he caught consumed 1 charge. Fair enough. Better than relying purely on random luck with a rod. Chen Guoqian steadied his focus, sweeping his gaze over the floating supplies and targeting larger, more valuable objects. Before long, a yellowed blueprint drifted slowly along the current, stopping right at the edge of his reach. Chen Guoqian struck fast and closed his fist around it. Ding! Obtained. Small wooden boat blueprint ×1. Great start. A surge of excitement rose inside him. Boats were essential for ocean exploration. With one, he could travel to other unclaimed islands nearby. Instead of being trapped on this 100-square-meter rock, slowly exhausting resources, the odds of drawing a boat blueprint from regular fishing were extremely slim, yet he obtained it on his first bare-handed attempt. The second and third items drifted over soon, both wooden treasure chests wobbling into range. Chen Guoqian grabbed one in each hand steadily. Ding! Obtained. Wooden treasure chest ×1. Ding! Obtained. Wooden treasure chest ×1. 2 successes in a row bolstered his confidence. Normally, getting 1 wooden treasure chest after 5 fishing attempts was considered incredible luck. Yet he'd gotten 2 at once. The 4th item floating toward him was a vial of clear pale blue liquid. Though labeled a vial, it barely held a single drop. There was no tag on the bottle, and it clearly wasn't ordinary seawater. Without hesitation, Chen Guoqian reached out and caught it. Ding! Obtained. Body Refining Elixir. Name, Body Refining Elixir. Rank. Fine description. Purges a certain amount of impurities from the body upon consumption. This was just like the rebirth elixirs in martial arts novels. 4 attempts had been used, leaving only the final chance. Chen Guoqian held his breath, his gaze fixed firmly on the depths of the void. Ordinary supplies no longer interested him. He waited for something far better. Several minutes later, a dark brown metallic glimmer slowly emerged in the distance. It was an iron treasure chest roughly the same size as the wooden ones, carved with intricate patterns along its edges. Come to me. Come closer. Chen Guoqian muttered repeatedly, as the chest drifted to the edge of his harvesting radius. He lunged forward, fingers clamping tightly onto its rim. Ding! Obtained. Iron treasure chest ×1. Success. The moment he secured the iron chest, the void before him shattered, and the familiar sea surface came back into view. All 5 fishing attempts were exhausted. Not a single wasted try, and the quality of loot vastly outstripped standard fishing yields. Myth-tier talent really is overpowered. He shook seawater off his hands, a wide grin spreading across his face. Other survivors relied purely on luck to fish, but he could practically pick rewards straight from the loot pool. His reach might be limited, yet the consistent quality put every ordinary survivor far behind. He first opened the 2 wooden treasure chests. Inside the first lay a flint, a thick black windbreaker, and a neatly folded quilt. Perfect. Chen Guoqian shook out the windbreaker. The system announcement warned of extreme temperature swings and dangers at night. With these 2 items, he had solved his warmth problem and wouldn't shiver through the dark hours. The second chest was filled with basic construction materials: stone ×10, clay ×5, timber ×10. Combined with materials he'd gained earlier, he already had nearly half the 50 stones needed to upgrade his island. At this pace, he could advance the island to Tier 2 within 2 days. At last, he turned his attention to the iron treasure chest. Name, Iron treasure chest. Rank, Tier 1. Description, randomly yields 1 to 3 common or fine-grade items. The metal container felt cold and heavy in his grasp. Chen Guoqian gripped the latch and pried it open. Click! The chest swung open. Two glass syringes holding potions rested upon velvet lining. One glowed pale red, the other translucent deep blue. Beside them sat a small pouch. Name: Constitution Potion. Rank: Fine. Description: Slightly boosts physical constitution after use. Name: Spirit Potion. Rank: Fine. Description: Slightly boosts mental spirit after use. Name: Basic Supply Gift Pack. Rank: Common. Description: Unlocks various basic resources with a total quantity of 100 units. Constitution Potion and Spirit Potion. Permanent stat boosts. This was incredible. He reined in his excitement and avoided drinking both potions immediately. He would consume the body-refining elixir first. Acting on his thought, Chen Guochen tilted his head back and swallowed the single drop of body-refining elixir. Heat surged through his body, and thick black, foul-smelling fluid seeped out from his pores. Unable to stand the stench, he stripped off his clothes and washed himself using seawater at the shore. Once clean, he drained both potions in quick succession. After drinking them, Chen Guochen felt utterly revitalized. Name: Chen Guochen. Rank: Tier 1 Talent. Share Capacity: 1-2 Overall Evaluation. This once mediocre survivor has changed, yet he still has a long way to go. He had broken through to Tier 1. Now he could test out several ideas he'd been considering. He immediately opened the Basic Supply Gift Pack. Rewards: Stone times 31, Clay times 57, Timber times 10, Iron times 2. Now he only needed 48 units of clay to upgrade the island. Just then, the sun sank slowly toward the horizon. Orange-red twilight spilled across the sea. Chen Guochen glanced upward. The sun had dipped below the ocean's edge. Complete darkness would arrive soon. He hadn't forgotten the system's warnings about nighttime dangers. Still, compared to the threats, the line from his island's description, capable of passively absorbing star power at night, captivated him far more. Carrying his quilt and windbreaker to the island's center, he pulled stones and timber from his system storage and stacked them as a windbreak. Though they appeared small inside treasure chests, each stone expanded into a 30-centimeter cube once withdrawn. With timber, flint, quilt, and outerwear on hand, surviving the night would pose little trouble. Chen Guochen lit a fire and stared out toward the darkening sea. The crash of waves sounded deeper and heavier than during the day, and countless unknown threats seemed to lurk within the shadows. He found himself looking forward to his first night on the endless sea. Dusk had fully settled. The distant sea melted into deep ink black, only foamy white crests visible where waves crashed against the island shore. Cold night wind swept over him, yet the crude shelter, campfire, windproof jacket, and quilt shielded him entirely. His stomach rumbled. He realized he hadn't eaten a proper meal after a busy afternoon. Pulling a can from system storage, he tore open the pull tab, and rich, savory meat aroma wafted out at once. Chewing mouthfuls of meat, he opened the regional chat channel. "I'm starving. Haven't eaten all day. Can anyone spare some food? This fishing rod is garbage. 4 empty catches out of 5 attempts. Back home, I could always haul a full bucket of fish. I'm hungry and thirsty. Is anyone willing to trade supplies with me? I can offer personal photos in exchange. Roasted poultry from another world? Interesting. Quick question. Hypothetically, what happens if I accidentally drop my fishing rod into the sea? Well, that's basically game over for you. Shame there's no way to send condolences. Otherwise, I'd send you a gift. How are you all chatting here without freezing? I'm nearly frozen solid. Why not build a fire? You only need timber. If you don't have flint or a lighter, you can rent one on the trade market. Wow, 5 fishing attempts and 4 wooden treasure chests. I'm so lucky. No lucky players allowed here. Buddy, don't celebrate too fast. Check what resources you're missing. No one's suffering more than me. I was just about to settle down for a rest when I got transported here. It's such rotten luck. Look on the bright side. Maybe this means you've got incredible natural vitality from now on. Watch your language, everyone. Has anyone noticed multiple people selling fresh water on the trade market? Really? I'm going to check it out. It's there all right, but I can't afford the prices. Total price gouging. If you can't afford water, don't complain. They're doing everyone a favor by putting supplies up for trade. Exactly. Messages scrolled rapidly, filled with all kinds of chatter, much like the chaos of the afternoon. The only difference was that everyone had accepted the reality of being transported to another world. But Chen Guochen paused mid-chew when he spotted the number in the upper corner of the channel. Current regional survivor count, 99,072. 100,000 people arrived initially. Less than half a day had passed, still within the system's first-day novice protection period, yet nearly 1,000 had already perished. Chen Guochen chewed his meat, his expression turning solemn. He'd thought being bound to an island guaranteed safety, But that was clearly not the case. I can't get overconfident, he muttered, swallowing the last bite. After finishing the canned food, he opened the trade market. Far busier than its empty state that afternoon, numerous trade listings had appeared. Most prominent were the freshwater sales mentioned in the chat. For sale, freshwater 10 milliliters exchange for 10 timber / 5 stone / 5 clay. Several identical listings sat below it, each with increasingly outrageous pricing. Chen Guichen nearly laughed. Straight-up price gouging. Asking for so many materials for just 20 milliliters of water. They're really pushing it. He had ample fresh water right now and little surplus to trade. There was no rush to rely on the market. His goals stretched far beyond petty trades. Hoarding materials to upgrade the island and craft a boat as soon as possible was his priority. He took a sip of fresh water to moisten his throat. Night had fully swallowed the sea. His daily fishing attempts were exhausted. Blueprints for wooden boats and stone axes required a workbench to craft, and he did not yet possess one. He could not waste this long night. Chen Guichen's gaze fell on the island beneath his feet. It was time to test an idea he'd pondered earlier. Could he share the island itself? Most people who obtained the share talent would immediately share weapons or armor. But Chen Guichen thought differently. His star vein resonance island was special, capable of absorbing star power at night. If he could share the island's trait, would he also absorb star power? There was only one way to find out. He calmed his mind, pressed his palm against the firelit soil, and spoke silently within his heart. Share. The moment the talent activated, a far heavier, steadier force surged upward from beneath the ground. It flowed through his palm and spread across his entire body, as if the island's weight had settled deep into his bones. His physical strength had surpassed ordinary Tier 1 standards. Chen Guichen's eyes lit up. It worked. Before he could fully process the bodily changes, he lifted his head instinctively. In the pitch-black night sky, countless stars sent nearly transparent silver threads drifting downward. This must be star power. It matched perfectly with the island's description. Previously, only the island absorbed star power after dark. Now that he shared its trait, he could reap the benefits alongside it. Chen Guichen tried to guide the energy, yet found he could not control it consciously. It functioned as quiet, gradual nourishment, subtle yet persistent. Won't complain about free power. And the island description says there are no downsides. He lay down wrapped in his quilt, occasionally glancing at the chat channel. Warmth from the campfire, the windproof jacket, and the slow flow of star power combined to make him drowsy. The rhythmic crash of waves against the shore acted like natural white noise. Chen Guichen closed his eyes. He slept soundly, unaware the silver glow swirling around him was growing denser. And so, the first night on the endless sea slipped quietly by. Chen Guichen woke as the first streaks of dawn painted the horizon. The campfire had burned down to warm ashes. He was surprised he'd fallen asleep so early, unable to recall the exact moment he drifted off. Weird. Normally I can't sleep before midnight. He rubbed his brows, wondering aloud. Could absorbing star power be the reason? He stood and stretched. Every muscle felt refreshed, as if he'd slept 10 solid hours after a grueling all-nighter. His mental state far exceeded yesterday's. The quiet star power had clearly yielded tangible benefits. Free buffs. Definitely worth it. He brushed aside his confusion, pulled the last can of food from system storage, and twisted open his fresh water canteen for a drink. The morning sea shimmered with golden sunlight. Gentle waves rolled toward the distant horizon. Honestly, this scenery would be a top-tier resort island back on Earth, he joked as he bit into canned meat. Jokes aside, he focused on his priorities. Today's goal was clear: gather materials to upgrade the Star Vein Resonance Island to Tier 2. He checked his interface. It was already 9 o'clock. He glanced at regional chat, and the survivor count had fallen to more than 80,000. Finishing his meal, he wiped his mouth, grabbed his fishing rod. He headed to his usual spot at the island's edge. Daily fishing attempts had reset. He began with regular fishing first. The first tug came after 3 minutes, yielding clay. Ding. Obtained. Clay times 6. He waited 5 minutes for the second cast. The float dipped sharply, pulled by strong resistance. He tugged upward, and a familiar pale brown wooden chest broke the surface. Ding. Obtained. Wooden treasure chest times 1. Not bad luck. He opened it right away. Inside were stone times 8, clay times 6, plus a small packet of vegetable seeds. The third cast caught nothing. The fourth brought 2 liters of fresh water. The fifth yielded 2 packs of compressed biscuits. All 5 regular attempts finished. Results were decent, but unremarkable. Chen Guichen set down the fishing rod and stretched his fingers. The real harvest was about to begin. Having advanced to Tier 1, His sheer talent capacity had expanded from 1 to 2. He no longer needed to constantly toggle sharing between the fishing rod and the island. He walked to the shore, dipped his right hand into seawater. The resource dimension awaited him once more. Keep targeting high-value items. Anything useless can be traded for clay later. Shin Guochen kept his sights locked on treasure chests, scrolls, and other items that looked valuable. It was not long before 2 wooden treasure chests drifted within reach, and he caught one in each hand. The third drifting item was not bulk resources, but a folded blueprint edged with metallic sheen. Ding! Obtained. Crossbow crafting blueprint ×1. Perfect timing. He brightened. The fourth item was another wooden treasure chest. Iron treasure chest stayed farther away today. He thought his harvest would end there with the final attempt, until a surprise arrived. A glittering treasure chest raced toward him faster than any supply he had seen so far. Shin Guochen focused intently, striking quickly as it passed, and successfully capturing it. Ding! Acquired. Special treasure chest ×1. The 5 attempts were exhausted, and the void before his eyes dissipated instantly. Shin Guochen pulled his hand back, barely able to contain his grin. This is just how powerful a mythic talent is. Now, time to open the chests. Shin Guochen first took out 3 wooden treasure chests. You 3 had better drop mediocre loot to serve as luck fodder for my special chest. He opened the 3 wooden chests one after another. The first was filled entirely with basic materials. Wood ×5, clay ×4, stone ×6. The second contained only food. Bread ×2, fresh water ×1L, roasted chicken ×1. The third held a mixed assortment. Bandage ×2, charcoal crafting blueprint ×1, wood ×5. Next came the main prize of the day. Name, special treasure chest rank, special description, a reward obtained only after thousands of fishing attempts. Shin Guochen took a deep breath and opened the special chest. 3 items appeared inside. Name, basic material selection pack ×100 rank, common description, allows free selection of any basic material. Name, star spirit stone ×3 rank, special description, contains dense star power, a rare transcendent material. Name, random information ×1 rank, special description, upon use, grants 1 random piece of beneficial information to the user. He'd struck it rich, utterly struck it rich. He now possessed enough supplies to upgrade his island. Without hesitation, Shin Guochen immediately used the random information. Ding! Usage successful. Information acquired. Once you travel 100 meters away from your island, you will discover another island 1 kilometer to the east. If you set foot on this island within the 3-day novice period, you will receive a special reward. An island 1 kilometer east, with a special reward. Logically, an island 1 kilometer away should be visible. Yet the information stated he needed to venture 100 meters offshore first. Evidently, some system or special rule set this trigger condition. Still, the 1 kilometer distance meant he needed a boat to cross the water. With less than 2 days remaining, he had to speed up his preparations. He only needed 15 units of clay to upgrade the island. Shin Guochen used 15 of the material packs to obtain the clay, saving the remainder for future shortages. Now that materials were ready, he focused his mind and spoke. Upgrade island. Stone 50, clay 100. A white light enveloped the island's perimeter. After roughly a minute, a newly transformed island came into view. The most obvious change after the upgrade was its increased size. Other features remained largely unchanged. Island name, Starvane Resonance Isle rank. Tier 2 island area. Approximately 300 square meters structures. None resources. Star or constructible facilities. Wooden hut stone ×10, wood ×30, workbench wood ×20, farm plot, clay ×9 island lord, Shin Guochen. Upgrade requirements. Stone ×1000, clay ×2000, star spirit stone ×1 island evaluation. The island's terrestrial veins connect to the starry sky, naturally forming a star power resonance field. It passively absorbs stellar energy at night and is undergoing transformation. Star or has emerged within the land veins. Mining it will weaken the star power resonance field. After reviewing the upgraded islands panel, Shin Guochen felt an overwhelming surge of joy. Promotion to Tier 2 Accelerated Starvane Resonance Isles Transformation and Spawn Star, Oregon. If further upgrades continued this trend, this island would truly be a star-blessed land. Additionally, he could now construct 3 facilities, a wooden hut, workbench, and farm plots, provided he gathered sufficient materials. Shelter would be secured, a workstation for crafting boats and tools would be available, and his survival concerns over food would vanish. The Tier 3 upgrade required a Star Spirit Stone, and he had just obtained 3. That meant only common basic materials stood between him and Tier 3. The system had practically handed him resources on a platter. It was an incredible gain. Of course, Tier 3 was still a distant goal. His priority was to complete basic infrastructure first. From the remaining 85 basic material selection packs, he used 26, choosing 9 units of clay and 17 units of wood. Construct wooden hut and farm plots. Stone 10, wood 30, clay 9. Just like the island upgrade, white light wrapped around the island's center. In less than 20 seconds, a 30-square-meter log cabin stood at the island's heart. It had sturdy walls, a simple wooden door and windows, more than enough to shield him from wind and rain. Beside it appeared a grid of farm plots arranged in 9 squares, each covering 1 square meter. Construct workbench. Wood 20. White light shrouded the log cabin once more. A dozen seconds later, the cabin's outward appearance stayed the same, but its interior expanded from 30 to 40 square meters. Chen Guochen pushed open the door and stepped inside. The space was dim. A fire pit sat in the center, with a room on each side. He first entered the right room, roughly 10 square meters in size. A wooden bed occupied the corner, with no other furnishings. The left room housed the workbench, also 10 square meters large. A waist-high solid timber workbench stood there. Its surface was smoothly polished, retaining natural wood grain along the edges. It came complete with simple grooves and fixtures. Name, workbench rank, special description, unlocks crafting blueprints. Items can be forged by inputting materials. He channeled his will and placed 3 blueprints onto the workbench: stone axe blueprint, small wooden boat blueprint, and crossbow blueprint. The workbench glowed faintly, absorbing all 3 blueprints. Their crafting requirements appeared clearly. Name, stone axe rank, common required materials, wood ×1, stone ×1 description, basic logging tool. Can harvest timber and mine ordinary ore. Name, small wooden boat rank, common required materials, wood ×50, hemp rope ×10, iron ×5 description, accommodates 1 to 2 people for coastal voyages. Poor wave resistance, do not sail into deep waters. Name, crossbow rank, common required materials, wood ×5, beast tendon ×3 description, long-range weapon with an effective range of 30 meters. Chen Guochen scanned the information and formed a clear plan. The stone axe was simplest. He could craft it immediately with materials he could easily gather. The crossbow lacked beast tendons, and even if he built it, he possessed no bolts, so that project was on hold for now. The small wooden boat was critical. If he wanted to claim the time-limited reward on the eastern island 1 kilometer away, the boat was mandatory. Only 59 basic material selection packs remained, leaving him short of certain supplies. He would need to trade for resources on the marketplace. Chen Guochen opened the marketplace and searched for wood. Compared to hemp rope and iron, wood would undoubtedly be the cheapest commodity. 10 wood in exchange for 1 day's rations. Trading wood for food. Message me if interested. 5 wood for 500 milliliters fresh water. Page after page of trade listings appeared. He ignored all posts requiring private negotiations and only accepted deals he deemed reasonably priced. In the end, he traded 1 liter of fresh water for 60 units of wood. Now his materials were sufficient. He used the basic material selection packs to obtain 10 units of hemp rope and 3 units of iron. Chen Guochen immediately began crafting the small wooden boat. Wood 50, hemp rope 10, iron 5. 10 minutes passed, and construction finished. He had expected the boat to materialize inside the room, but instead it appeared directly within his system storage space. The storage space was incredibly convenient. Chen Guochen stepped outside and retrieved the small wooden boat from storage, placing it on the ground to inspect. He avoided launching it straight into the sea, fearing the currents might sweep it away. The boat had a sharp, slender hull finished in natural log varnish, an open design with 3 crossbeams serving as seats. Its construction was simple yet robust, and it came equipped with oars. Everything was ready, yet Chen Guochen did not set off at once. Beneath the calm-looking ocean surface surely lurked dangers. He refused to let the prospect of limited-time rewards cloud his judgment and risk his life recklessly. He opened the marketplace again, this time searching for crossbow bolts. Some listings existed, though far fewer than wood, and most prices were exorbitant or required private discussion. Chen Guochen opened a trade post offering bolts in exchange for food. Chen Guochen, hello, I want to trade for crossbow bolts. What is your price? Liu Yong, what food do you have? I will set the price based on your supplies. Chen Guochen, I only have compressed biscuits right now. Will those work? Liu Yong, that works. I don't want to haggle. 10 bolts for 1 pack. Take it or leave it. Chen Guochen, deal. Liu Yong, all right. I will set up the trade listing now. You can complete the exchange directly. Chen Guichen understood. He had originally hoped to trade for a better weapon and armor, but limited supplies forced him to abandon the idea. Armed with his newly crafted stone axe and crossbow, Chen Guichen boarded the boat and set course toward the eastern island marked in the information. The wooden boat cut across glistening waves, drifting slowly east. Chen Guichen gripped the oars, sitting steadily as sea wind fluttered his clothes. As far as his eyes could see stretched endless blue ocean, with no sign of land yet. Once he sailed 100 meters offshore, the island mentioned in the information finally came into view. A 1-kilometer voyage was not far, yet this ocean was unlike the seas of his old world. There was no telling what creatures might surge up from the depths. He had not forgotten the official warning notices, and his gaze constantly swept the water beneath him. Sure enough, when the boat reached the halfway point, faint splashes echoed from underwater. Chen Guichen immediately stopped rowing and peered down. Several dark gray shapes surged toward the boat from beneath the waves. Dorsal fins sliced the water, revealing rows of sharp fangs. He activated insight and grabbed his crossbow. Name, Fangfish. Rank, Tier 0. Description, mindless predatory fish of the ocean. They survive purely thanks to their extraordinary breeding rate. Remaining calm, Chen Guichen pulled the crossbow from storage, knocked a bolt, and took aim. Whoosh! The bolt shot forward, piercing the eye of the leading fangfish. Reddish blood diffused through the seawater. Instead of retreating, the remaining two grew wilder from the scent of blood and leaped from the water, lunging toward the gunwale. Chen Guichen set aside the crossbow, drew his stone axe, and swung horizontally as the two fish hung suspended mid-air. Squelch! Squelch! The two fangfish crashed back into the water, belly up and lifeless. In less than 20 seconds, all three attacking sea creatures were slain. Chen Guichen shook seawater and blood from his axe, his tense muscles relaxing. Have I grown this strong already? He stowed the 3 fish carcasses into system storage. Fish meat and hide were valuable resources. Every little bit counted. With the threat dealt with, the boat continued east. Roughly 5 more minutes of rowing passed. As he drew nearer, the full outline of the island became clear. It was slightly larger than Starvane Resonance Isle, spanning just over 400 square meters. The terrain was barren, with barely any wild grass. At the island's center stood a pale gray stone pillar, several meters tall, shimmering with a faint jade luster beneath the sunlight. This is the place. Chen Guichen rowed the boat into shallow waters, jumped ashore, and stored the boat back into his system storage. His eyes locked onto the central stone pillar, and he advanced cautiously. The pillar was pale white, etched with dense, unknown runes. Instead of touching it rashly, he activated insight. Information surfaced instantly. Name, Evaluation Pillar. Rank, Special Description, Limited Opportunity exclusive to the novice phase. Touching it initiates a comprehensive evaluation of the survivor. The evaluation tier determines the number of reward draws. Tier 1, 5 draws. Tier 2, 3 draws. Tier 3, 2 draws. Tier 4, 1 draw. Tier 5, no reward. There's a ranking system involved. Chen Guichen stroked his chin and thought rapidly. Others might reach out and touch it immediately, but he first pondered how the evaluation functioned. If the score depended on his current stockpile and combat strength, waiting until he gathered more resources and boosted his power would yield better results. After tomorrow's 10 fishing attempts, he might even climb an evaluation tier. On the other hand, discovering and reaching this island required extremely strict conditions. Aside from others who might have obtained the location through a special treasure chest's random information, normal survivors would first need to travel 100 meters offshore just to spot the landmass. And even then, many would fail to notice it. They would also need a boat to cross the water. Boats either required blueprints unlocked by upgrading to a Tier 2 island and crafting via workbench, or could only be obtained from treasure chests. Neither option was easy, and the 3-day time limit hung over everything. Whether the evaluation compared him against all survivors based on supplies and combat power, or judged his own individual strength and resources, Chen Guichen believed he would land within the top tier, if not first or second place. Claim the rewards early to speed up my development. I won't wait. Having made up his mind, he reached out and pressed his palm against the cool pillar. In an instant, soft white light emanated from the stone, flowing up his palm and sweeping across his whole body. It felt as though an invisible gaze examined him. The few seconds stretched on, as if lasting far longer. When the light faded, pale golden text appeared atop the pillar. Comprehensive evaluation, Tier 1 reward draw attempts granted, 5 reward pool unlocked. Please select draw category. 9 luminous patterns lit up across the pillar's surface, each corresponding to a category. Building blueprints, crafting blueprints, equipment, beast eggs, plant seeds, skill tomes, materials, cultivation codices, potions. 9 categories and 5 full draws. Chen Guochen nearly drooled. He had secured the highest evaluation tier for this novice limited opportunity. It was an enormous windfall. He stared at the 9 reward categories and considered his options. There was no indication of item ranks for each category, meaning rewards were likely randomized. No sense overthinking. Let's test 2 categories first. Choose Beast Egg and Crafting Blueprint. He selected Beast Egg partly because living alone on the island grew lonely, and a companion would be welcome, regardless of its combat power. He picked Crafting Blueprint to test the reward system. As he made his choice, white light descended beside his feet, revealing an ostrich-sized beast egg and a scroll. Name: Silver Starwing Eagle Egg. Rank: Transcendent. Description: Drip blood to form a bond. It will hatch into a silver starwing eagle within 3 days. Placing it in an environment rich in star power accelerates incubation. Name: Beast Feed. Crafting Blueprint. Rank: Rare. Description: Unlocks the ability to craft beast feed of corresponding grades, up to rare tier, when supplied with suitable materials. Transcendent and Rare, 2 ranks he had never seen before, yet clearly extremely high tier. He wondered if the reward selection was rigged. Choosing a beast egg directly granted him the blueprint for beast feed. Without further hesitation, he claimed his remaining 3 draws. Choose Building Blueprint, Plant Seeds, Cultivation Codex. Another wave of white light washed over him, and the rewards materialized. Name: Star Convergence Tower. Blueprint. Rank: Perfect. Description: Draws surrounding star power and concentrates it within the tower. May be placed directly. Name: Star Vault Mantra. Rank: Special. Description: An ancient cultivation codex exclusive to harnessing stellar power. Name: Starspot Fruit Tree Seed. Rank: Excellent. Description: Bears fruit every 7 days. The fruit contains faint star power and can slightly boost mental strength. He could not help but suspect the rewards were predetermined. All of them aligned with star attributes, matching the nature of his island. Still, there was nothing he could do to change it. Since the system offered them, he would accept them. He bit his fingertip and let a drop of blood fall onto the silver starwing eagle egg, then gathered his belongings and headed home. Chen Guochen stowed the beast egg, blueprints, and seed into his system storage. After confirming there was nothing else of value around the pillar, he walked toward the shallow shore, retrieved his boat, and pushed it into the ocean. He climbed aboard, dipped the oar into the water, and cut across shimmering waves toward Starvane Resonance Isle. The afternoon sun blazed over the sea, and salt-laden sea wind brushed his cheeks. He rowed steadily, yet his gaze never left the water. He had encountered fangfish on the way here, and there was no guarantee the return journey would be safe. Sure enough, shortly after he set off, dense splashes echoed from underwater. More shapes than before, 5 or 6 dark gray silhouettes closed in. Dorsal fins cut the waves, and sharp fangs glinted coldly under the sunlight. Traveling in a pack, Chen Guochen raised his crossbow, knocking a bolt. Whoosh! Whoosh! 2 bolts flew out, killing the leading 2 fangfish instantly. Crimson blood spread slowly through the seawater. The remaining 4 grew frenzied from the scent and surged forward, leaping out of the water to snap at Chen Guochen on the boat. Chen Guochen set aside the empty crossbow and drew his stone axe. Horizontal and vertical strikes felled 2 more fish. Yet the school outnumbered him. 1 fish seized an opening and sank its jaws into his left arm. He expected searing pain, but only felt dull pressure. Chen Guochen blinked and looked down. The fangfish's fangs had pierced his windbreaker, yet not a single mark appeared on his skin beneath. It must be the shared island trait boosting my physical resilience. He realized immediately. Starvane Resonance Isle featured dense, tough rock formations, and the island's properties extended to his own body. These Tier 0 fangfish could not break through his defenses. Now fully confident, he twisted his wrist. The stone axe swept forward with fierce momentum, cleaving apart the last 2 fangfish. All of them tumbled back into the water, floating belly up. He shook his arm. Aside from mild soreness, he suffered no injuries. He butchered the 6 fish carcasses and stored all of them into system storage. As he collected the remains, a thought crossed his mind. If he could share the traits of marine creatures, would he gain the ability to breathe underwater and swim better? He set the idea aside for now, unwilling to risk inheriting the fangfish's mindless aggression to test the theory. With the threat eliminated, the boat sailed smoothly. Soon, the outline of Starvane Resonance Isle came into sight. He pulled ashore, stored the boat, and stepped onto familiar land. After a short rest, Chen Guochen pulled out the Star Convergence Tower blueprint. This perfect tier structure actively gathered star power, perfectly complementing his island's natural traits. He initially planned to erect it at the island's center to form a complete star power circulation loop. He focused his mind and selected placement. Yet the next instant, a system notification popped up, detected insufficient island level and limited land area. Perfect grade star gathering tower cannot be placed temporarily. Please upgrade your island and try again. The island level isn't high enough. Chen Guochen stroked his chin, not overly surprised. His island spanned merely 300 square meters for now. Fortunately, he already possessed Star Spirit Stones, the core material required for the third-tier upgrade. All he needed was basic stone and soil. Within a few days, he could advance the island once more. All right, I'll keep the blueprint stored and attempt construction once the island reaches Tier 3. He put the blueprint away and walked toward the farm plots. 9 neatly arranged patches of soft black soil stretched out before him. He took out Star Blotch fruit tree seeds, along with vegetable seeds he had obtained the previous day, and sowed them separately across the plots. After watering the Star Blotch fruit tree seeds with fresh water, Chen Guochen returned to his wooden cabin. He carefully set the Silver Star Eagle egg down on the wooden bed. A faint silver glow rippled across the shell, brightening the dim room significantly. This spot works perfectly. The island's star energy will nourish it and speed up hatching. Having settled the beast egg, he stepped into the room housing his workbench and slotted the beast feed crafting blueprint into the device. A soft light flickered across the interface as the blueprint was registered. Name, Beast Feed Grade. Common Rare Required Materials. Meat ×2, Vegetables ×1, Fresh Water ×20 ml. Special materials may be added voluntarily. Description. Satisfies the daily growth needs of beasts. Chen Guochen nodded. With this recipe ready, he would not need to worry excessively about food once the young eagle hatched. After wrapping up his chores, the sun still hung low above the horizon. Dusk was far off. Leaning against the cabin doorway, Chen Guochen retrieved the book Cosmic Star Laws from his system storage. Its cover was deep navy blue, textured like scattered stardust and cool to the touch. He flipped open the title page, and ancient characters were automatically translated into Chinese for him to read. Draw star energy into the body, forge the foundation of star veins, and command the laws of the firmament. This was a genuine transcendent cultivation technique, on an entirely different level from relying on potions or passive star energy nourishment. Chen Guochen's expression turned serious as he carefully read the text. Half an hour later, he finished the introductory cultivation segment. When he tried to continue reading, all subsequent writing vanished without explanation. He suspected he could not access the rest because he had not yet begun cultivating, lacked sufficient realm progress, or needed to satisfy some special condition to unlock the remaining pages. This frustrated him. According to the book, Cosmic Star Laws could only be practiced after nightfall. With plenty of time remaining until dark, he had no choice but to open the regional chat channel to browse messages from other survivors. I'm so bored. We only get 5 uses of the fishing rod each day. Once those run out, there's nothing to do. Can the system at least give us phones and signal? You're dreaming, but I agree it's dreadfully dull. If you're bored, why not dig soil and stone on your islands? What's the point of digging dirt and rock? Can excavating materials from your own island actually help upgrade it? You guessed right, it really works. I was just short of soil to level up my island, gave it a shot, and it succeeded. What's more, the soil and stone you dig will regenerate after the island upgrades. No way, really? I'm heading out to dig right now. What changes come with upgrading to Tier 2 Island? It expands a little and unlocks construction of wooden cabins, workbenches, and farm plots. A wooden cabin? I'm digging immediately. I'm tired of enduring sea wind out in the open. How are we supposed to survive the natural disasters arriving in 7 days? We depend entirely on luck just to get enough to eat each day. Who knows? If we can't make it, there's nothing we can do. You're certainly optimistic. Has anyone spotted other islands nearby? I saw a dark speck on the ocean surface while fishing offshore. Not me. Aren't you taking a huge risk heading into the sea to fish? My talent is enhanced perception. I never stray far from my island, so I can sense danger well in advance. Nice. I plan to investigate tomorrow. If I make it back alive, I'll share what I find. Salute to you. +1 +2. Reading this exchange, Chen Guochen realized the island Chen Shi mentioned was the reward island he had visited. It would be wise to share this information in the regional chat. There must be a purpose behind the system dividing survivors into regions. In this unfamiliar world, Gaining influence and renown while staying ahead in strength would benefit him greatly. Chen Guichen, I know that island. I just returned from it. Every survivor's initial island has one such landmass within a 1-kilometer radius. You can only see it once you travel more than 100 meters away from your starting island. It is a reward island that evaluates visitors and grants rewards. Believe it or not. Chen sure. One detail matches what this person said. After I finished fishing and returned to my island, I could no longer see that dark speck. If this is true, thank you, Senior. Thanks for the heads up. I'm going to check it out tomorrow too. Aren't you worried he's lying? If there are genuine rewards, why would he tell everyone? I choose to believe him. That's my business. Mind your own business. Hey, how do you plan to get there? Do you have a boat? No, none of us can afford one right now. But I can build a simple wooden raft using timber. Senior, can you teach us how? +1. Some people never learn to avoid unnecessary risks. No one asked for your warnings. Keep your opinions to yourself. Find dry, buoyant round logs and sturdy rope. If rope is unavailable, suitable substitutes can work. Lay the timbers side by side. Fasten them securely with clove hitches around the outer edges, and tightly connect overlapping sections. Secure the middle joints with simple overhand knots, and finish the perimeter with clove hitches to prevent loosening. You can also soften branches by soaking them in seawater to make makeshift cordage. Twilight swallowed the sea completely. Tiny stars dotted the deep blue sky one after another, and cool sea breeze carrying a faint salty tang swept across Star Vein Resonance Island. A small fire smoldered weakly inside the wooden cabin. Chen Guichen sat cross-legged beside the flames and pulled the roasted chicken he had caught while fishing earlier out of system storage. He blinked in surprise. Even though he had stored the cooked poultry hours ago, it remained steaming hot. The system is incredible. A thought crossed his mind. He opened the regional chat channel, found the photo upload function, and snapped a picture of the steaming chicken. He typed out a message and sent it. I had poor luck today, so I can only make do with a simple meal. Messages flooded the channel instantly. What incredible luck. All I've caught is bread and hardtack. I haven't tasted meat once. This isn't fair. Senior, could you spare a chicken leg? I'll do anything you ask. Senior, could you explain more about the reward island you mentioned earlier? If you give me a chicken leg, I'd gladly become your follower. You already got rewards from that island. Why can't you share some food with the rest of us? Who's this fool demanding handouts? Why don't you give us food instead? He already volunteered information about the reward island. Stop trying to guilt trip him. Are you out of your mind? Is everyone ready to head to that reward island tomorrow? Building a raft is way harder than it sounds. I practiced following Chun Shi's instructions, and what I built barely held together. Same here. I hope the reward island doesn't have a time limit, or I'll never reach it. Don't jinx it. My raft is finished. I'm setting sail tomorrow. Chen Guichen skimmed through the flood of messages filled with envy and requests, then closed the channel. He said nothing more regarding the reward island. He had shared all the critical information he intended to reveal. He chose not to mention the 3-day time restriction, disclosing that detail would only invite accusations. Kindness given too freely can breed resentment. He tore off a tender chicken leg and took a big bite. Rich juices chased away all the exhaustion from the day. Paired with stored fresh water, the simple supper felt deeply satisfying. Once full, it was time to attend to important matters. Chen Guichen stood, carefully picked up the glowing silver star eagle egg, and walked to the open space outside the cabin. The full stretch of night sky unfolded above him, endless starlight pouring down unobstructed, the perfect place to cultivate. He set the beast egg gently on the soft soil beside him, then sat cross-legged on the ground and began cultivating according to the introductory chapter of Cosmic Star Laws. The opening principle of Cosmic Star Laws could be summed up simply. Beneath the night sky, draw starlight from the firmament into your body, scour your flesh and bones, temper your physical origin, and achieve perfect harmony between your body and stellar power. There were no flashy, overpowered combat techniques. Chen Guichen closed his eyes and calmed his mind, attempting to pull the silvery star threads drifting down from above. Yet as soon as he settled his thoughts, star energy far denser than what he had experienced the previous night surged into his body through every limb and meridian without deliberate guidance. This gentle, mighty force circulated through his channels, nourishing his flesh. He opened his eyes abruptly, noticing something unusual. He had activated the shared talent to link with Star Vein Resonance Island the previous night and never deactivated it. After the island upgraded from Tier 1 to Tier 2 during the day, its innate star resonance effect strengthened dramatically. This amplification extended to him through the shared connection. In other words, As long as he did not sever the sharing link, every enhancement gained by the connected object would synchronize to him in real time. Was this not essentially a talent exploit? He never imagined finding such an advantage after arriving in this foreign world. Exploits were only frustrating when they benefited others rather than oneself. If they worked in his favor, they were far from a nuisance. Chen Guoqian rapidly considered the boundless potential of his shared talent. Right now, the Tier 2 island doubled his rate of absorbing star energy. Fishing opportunities would reset tomorrow. Could the Tier 2 fishing rod also pass all its enhancements to him through sharing? If so, fishing yields, range, and the grade of items he caught would all see massive improvements. He would not need to constantly switch shared targets. As long as the bonded objects continued to grow stronger, he would receive all their upgrades simultaneously. The truly terrifying power of his mythic-grade shared talent finally revealed itself. Suppressing his surging excitement, Chen Guoqian closed his eyes once more. He guided the incoming star energy carefully following the foundational cultivation method. The introductory practice contained no fancy moves, only pure tempering and attunement. Strands of starlight seeped into his skin and bones, healing old injuries accumulated over time, and steadily boosting his physical capabilities. As he absorbed more star energy, the flow of power within his body grew smoother, and his physical harmony with starlight rose bit by bit. All weariness from the day faded, leaving every limb brimming with vitality. Beside him, the silver star eagle egg breathed in starlight in tandem. The silver glow on its shell brightened and dimmed rhythmically, as if following a steady pulse, drawing surrounding stellar energy inward with each cycle. Waves lapped softly against the rocks, the wind whispered gently, and countless stars shed silver radiance. The beast egg absorbed starlight beside him. Man, egg, and the entire star vein island rested within the same field of star resonance. While steadily absorbing starlight to temper his body, Chen Guoqian silently planned his agenda for tomorrow. His fishing rod was now Tier 2, so he expected far better catches the next day. He would work hard to gather enough basic stone and soil to upgrade the island to Tier 3 before the natural disasters arrived, to better withstand the coming crisis. Chen Guoqian immersed himself in cultivation, a faint silver aura swirling around his form. Unbeknownst to him, countless eyes watched intently from the dark sea beyond the island's edge. Dawn had not yet fully broken. Damp sea wind slipped through the cracks of the cabin door. Chen Guoqian slept deeply. He had cultivated deep into the night, finally retreating indoors with the glowing beast egg once the nighttime chill grew unbearable. He wrapped himself tightly in his quilt. Then a throbbing pain in his skull woke him. Tap, 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 tap. Still half asleep, Chen Guoqian felt something repeatedly pecking his forehead. The force was light, yet the strikes came rapidly, like a tiny pile driver. He burrowed deeper under the quilt, but whatever it was persisted, chasing his forehead to continue pecking. What is this? He propped himself up, rubbing bleary eyes to look forward, and jolted fully awake. A fledgling silver star eagle stood right in front of him, its entire body covered in silvery gray down dotted with tiny star flecks. It was no bigger than his palm, with wide silver blue eyes, a soft beak and tender claws, staring straight at him with obvious hunger. Silver star eagle. Chen Guoqian glanced down. The beast egg he had brought into the cabin the night before had split into two shattered halves scattered across the floor. The little creature must have hatched while he slept. When it saw he was awake, it stretched its neck and pecked his palm 3 times before opening its small beak and letting out a sharp, demanding chirp. Cheep. Chen Guoqian held his forehead and sat up, equal parts amused and helpless. Aren't you hatching far too quickly? He recalled that the egg's description stated an incubation period of 3 days after he formed a blood pact with it. Even nourished by abundant star energy, the process should not have accelerated this drastically. Chen Guoqian glanced through the window. Daylight had not fully spread across the sky. Seeing Chen Guoqian make no move to feed it, the fledgling chirped loudly again. It stumbled unsteadily across the quilt, its pale yellow claws slipping on the fabric as it lurched toward Chen Guoqian, as if threatening to cling to him if ignored. Chen Guoqian could not resist its persistence. He retrieved chunks of tooth fish meat he had stored from system space. The fledgling spotted the meat and stumbled forward, flapping its underdeveloped wings. Chen Guoqian smiled and tore off a strip, holding it out to the bird. It snatched the meat, tilted its head, and swallowed whole. Then it lifted its head again, beak open, waiting expectantly for more. It continued demanding food until Chen Guoqian fed it 2 pieces of fish. Once full, Chen Guoqian wiped his hands and stood. He took 2 packs of hardtack and fresh water out of storage and ate a simple breakfast sitting on the bed. While fed, the young eagle grew far more energetic. It circled his feet, occasionally pecking at his shoelaces with its beak. I should name you. You're round and fluffy, and aligned with star power. I'll call you Star Cluster. All right, little Star Cluster, settle down. I have work to attend to, and we can play later. Chen Guochen walked toward the shore, and Star Cluster hobbled along behind him. Unable to fly yet, it tumbled forward clumsily, its feathers puffed out, resembling a rolling silvery gray fur ball. The morning breeze off Starvane Resonance Island carried a crisp chill. Morning glow painted the ocean in streaks of gold, crimson, and pale blue. He reached his usual fishing spot. The 5 daily fishing attempts had reset for the new day. Chen Guochen took out his fishing rod and examined the changes brought by its Tier 2 upgrade. Name: Fishing Rod Tier 2. Description: Standard tool for island survivors. Tier matches the island's tier. 5 free fishing attempts available daily, reset at midnight. Possible catches: Basic survival supplies, blueprints, Tier 1 wooden treasure chests, Tier 2 iron treasure chests low probability, Tier 3 silver treasure chests very low probability, special treasure chests extremely low probability. There is also a chance to reel and see monsters or catch nothing at all. After reading the updated description, Chen Guochen noticed the addition of silver treasure chests. A question also occurred to him that he had overlooked before. Why had no sea monsters appeared in the void space he accessed when sharing the fishing rod? What exactly did the warning about reeling and sea monsters mean? Furthermore, no one in the chat channel had ever mentioned catching sea monsters. Could a novice protection rule be in effect? Star Cluster beside him chirped loudly, interrupting Chen Guochen's train of thought as he stared at the fishing rod. Pushing the question aside for the moment, Chen Guochen knelt and stroked the fledgling. Wish me luck for great catches today. With that, he cast his line into the sea. Star Cluster squatted beside his feet, tilting its head and watching the line sink into the water, round eyes unblinking. The fishing line cut across the surface and sank into the blue depths. Ding! Fishing attempt failed. Chen Guochen glanced down at Star Cluster. The young eagle tilted its head and blinked back at him. I shouldn't blame you. It must have been my own luck. He cast the line again. Ding! Obtained fresh water times 2L. Ding! Obtained wooden treasure chest times 1. Ding! Obtained stone times 5. Ding! Obtained salt times 500G. His 5 attempts were exhausted. Chen Guochen thought his luck had been rather poor today. He lifted Star Cluster into his arms and prepared to open his single wooden treasure chest. 3 items awaited him: 3 tomatoes, 2 beast meats, and the crossbow bolt blueprint. After reviewing the loot, Chen Guochen stroked little Star Cluster and laughed loudly. Perfect. I'll craft beast feed for you at noon. Keep up the great work later on. He put away his fishing rod, lay flat on the island as usual, stretched his hand into the seawater, and began grabbing supplies from the supply void. Sure enough, a silver chest came into view, drifting rapidly in the distance. Unfortunately, his reach was far too short. At this moment, Chen Guochen badly wanted a rubber fruit. Ding! Obtained iron chest times 1. Ding! Obtained plant nutrient solution blueprint. Ding! Obtained fishing rod blueprint. Ding! Obtained special chest times 1. Ding! Obtained iron chest times 1. What a rewarding haul. I've secured another special chest. My only regret is failing to get that silver chest. Standing up, Chen Guochen lifted little Star Cluster into his hands. Wish me luck, little Star Cluster. With that, he first opened the 2 iron chests. Name: Island Anchor Needle Rank. Fine description: a compass that permanently points toward your island once bound. Name: Healing Potion Rank. Fine description: usable externally or orally, treats minor wounds and ailments. Name: Sailor's Scimitar Rank. Fine description: a lethal weapon for combat both on land and underwater. Name: Sailor's Leather Armor Rank. Fine description: durable waterproof leather armor with solid defensive capabilities. The remaining 2 rewards were familiar items: Spirit Potion and Physique Potion. Now for the main prize. I'm counting on you, little Star Cluster. Name: Random Secret Realm Teleport Scroll I rank. Special description: use alongside Random Secret Realm Teleport Scroll 2 to teleport to a random secret realm. Name: Random Intel times 1 rank. Special description: grants 1 random piece of advantageous information upon use. Name: Premonition Scroll rank. Special description: foretells incoming natural disasters. Premonition Scroll, Random Intel, Random Secret Realm Teleport Scroll I. The first 2 were intelligence items that he could activate immediately to aid his development. As for the Random Secret Realm Teleport Scroll I, with his current strength, holding it was like clutching an unpredictable explosive. It might lead to a safe location, Yet there was also the risk of being transported into a secret realm inhabited by creatures above Tier 3. If that happened, he would meet a swift end. Worse still, he could not activate it alone without the matching second scroll. I'll start with the intelligence. He sat cross-legged, set Little Star Cluster on his lap, and activated the premonition scroll. Activate. The scroll dissolved into a wisp of white light that flowed straight into his forehead. The next instant, lines of text appeared before his eyes. Next natural disaster type, storm duration, 2 full days and 2 nights. A storm. Chen Guochen wondered if the system intended to test them to the brink of annihilation. On such a tiny island, even a mild gale would put him on the verge of death, let alone a raging storm. What made it worse was the lengthy duration. He was not sure if he could survive it, nor whether the island beneath his feet could withstand the tempest. I have 4 days left. I must upgrade the island quickly, or the storm will seal my fate. He took a deep breath and picked up the second item. Ding. Confirm use of random intel scroll. Activate. White light once more merged into his forehead. This time the information surfaced slower. The regional contest event will commence soon. Every survival zone will launch the selection for Region Lord. Rules. The Region Lord will be elected by all survivors within the zone. Candidates must satisfy the requirements. Island rank no lower than Tier 3, personal combat power no lower than Tier 3, and possess considerable reputation within the region. Those elected as Region Lord shall receive extremely generous rewards and gain partial influence over the zone's future development direction. Chen Guochen read the message 3 times in a row. Region Lord, election, power to shape the zone's future. So this world isn't just solo survival. There will be conflict and competition. He stared out at the unnaturally calm sea. Natural disasters, regional rivalries. This is plainly a survival of the fittest contest. I have to fight for the position of Region Lord. He could work toward the first 2 requirements on his own, yet the third was tricky, reputation. After returning from the reward island, he had posted 2 messages in the regional chat channel. Among the tens of thousands of survivors in Zone 666, some would remember him, but he had no way of knowing how much renown he had gained. The message offered no specifics about the regional contest, whether it relied on direct combat or special competitions. No matter what form the contest took, strength came first. Without a Tier 3 island and Tier 3 combat power, he would not even qualify as a candidate. I'll focus on raising my island rank and personal strength first. Everything else means nothing without a solid foundation. He drained the spirit potion and physique potion in one gulp. He watched Little Star Cluster pecking playfully at him. Behave yourself. Eat when you're hungry. Rest when you're tired. Stop nipping my shoelaces. Star Cluster chirped. Gee, do you understand me? Gee. Very well, I'll take that as a no. He smiled, carried Little Star Cluster back to the wooden hut, placed the crossbow bolt blueprint, plant nutrient solution blueprint, and fishing rod blueprint onto the workbench. Then he opened the regional chat channel. Messages kept scrolling, yet the atmosphere was gradually shifting. At the very beginning after transmigration, the screen had been flooded with cries of panic. Now most messages centered on trades and intelligence exchanges. I've just caught a new batch of fresh water. Message quickly if you want some. Anyone have iron? I'll trade food for it. Why can't fishing rods be reused once their usage count runs out? I wish I could keep fishing. Speaking of it, has Senior Chinshur come back yet? No idea. He said he was setting off at dawn. I hope nothing bad happened to him. I told you not to trust that talk about Reward Island. Who would share such valuable information out of kindness? Serves you right. Can you stop spouting nonsense? Don't project your own suspicious nature onto everyone else. If I ever cross paths with you, you'll regret those words. All you do is spread negativity. Do you enjoy starting arguments? Chen Guochen browsed through the messages. Apart from discussions about Chinshur, one idea stood out: fishing rods. Every survivor only possessed 5 daily chances to fish for supplies, leaving most with little to occupy their time. If he put fishing rods up for sale, he could earn a tidy profit. What's more, the novice protection period was still active. Even if sea monsters took the bait, survivors on their islands would remain unharmed. With this thought, he closed the chat channel and prepared to craft a batch of fishing rods. Name: fishing rod rank. Common materials required: wood ×1, hemp rope ×1, iron ×1. The crafting cost was modest. He decided to make 10 first to test market demand and used 26 material selection packs. 10 minutes later, 10 ordinary fishing rods were finished. Chen Guochen listed them directly on the trading system at a moderate price. At the same time, he sent a message in the regional chat. I have listed 10 fishing rods on the trading market for sale. Additionally, I will release important information at 8 o'clock tonight. Shortly after sending the message, all 10 fishing rods sold out, far exceeding his expectations. Responses flooded in immediately. The senior has returned. I'm eager to hear the announcement tonight. Senior, do you have more fishing rods? I really want one. I haven't been able to fish for nearly 3 days. Thank you so much for letting me experience it again. I'm overjoyed. Fishing enthusiasts are truly relentless. Doesn't anyone care more about the news he promised for tonight? You won't understand the joy of fishing until you try it for yourself. Seeing how sought-after fishing rods were, Chun Guochen stepped up production. Demand for fishing rods would not last forever in the early survival phase. While Chun Guochen busied himself crafting and listing fishing rods, and other survivors scrambled to buy them, a long-awaited message appeared in the channel. Everyone, I'm back. Everyone, I'm back. Chun Guochen was casually scrolling the chat while crafting more fishing rods when the message popped up. Since Chun Shi had returned, he must have obtained his rewards. He wondered how fruitful the journey had been. The regional chat exploded instantly. Senior Chun Shi, you're finally back. How did it go? Is it real? Does Reward Island truly exist? Speak to us. We've waited an entire day. Where are all the doubters from earlier? Come out and admit you were wrong. He only claims he went to Reward Island. Why believe everything he says? I hope I never cross paths with that person. Chun Shi's second message followed, attached with a photo. He stood on a barren small island. It's real. Reward Island exists exactly as Senior Chun Guochen described. I qualified for Tier 2 rewards and received 3 lottery draws. Thank you, Senior Chun Guochen, for the intelligence. The message triggered complete chaos in the channel. Wow, I have to build a raft at all costs. Senior, what rewards did you get? Tell us so we can envy you. I'm curious too. Expand our horizons. I chose equipment, building blueprints, and a cultivation manual. I can reveal the equipment is an excellent grade blade. What tier is excellent? I only know about common grade so far. Common is followed by fine. Excellent must be higher than fine. I'm filled with envy. Everyone, I've also returned from Reward Island. Thank you Senior Chun Guochen for the information and Senior Chun Shi for sharing raft construction methods. More survivors succeeded? I'm speechless. I wasn't as fortunate. I qualified for Tier 4 with only 1 lottery chance. Chun Guochen watched the screen. Several more survivors announced their return from Reward Island shortly afterward. Only Chun Shi had achieved Tier 2. Undoubtedly, other survivors either chose not to disclose their gains or spread false claims. After digesting the news, he resumed crafting and listing fishing rods. Little Star Cluster perched on his shoulder. From time to time, it pecked his head, only to be gently brushed away by Chun Guochen. Stop distracting me. I have important work to finish. Gee, you don't understand any of this. Gee. All right, you understand everything. As time passed, dusk fell. Sunset light streamed through the hut window, bathing the workbench in a dim orange glow. He checked the time. 6:40 in the evening, just over an hour remaining until 8. Chun Guochen carried Little Star Cluster to the hut doorway and sat leaning against the frame to eat dinner. His own meal remained simple, bread and fresh water. Little Star Cluster ate the newly crafted beast feed and was full after 2 portions. He had sold more than 300 fishing rods that day, filling his reserves of basic resources. He was drawing close to meeting the requirements to upgrade to a Tier 3 island. Man and beast sat outside the hut, gazing out toward the sea. Stars began to dot the sky overhead. Little Star Cluster nestled in his arms, also watching the sea and sky. Its round eyes reflected scattered starlight. Do you know what those lights are? Chun Guochen asked. Star Cluster chirped. Gee, you chirp so loudly even though you don't know. Gee. Very well, I won't ask. He smiled and stroked the bird's back feathers. At exactly 8 o'clock, Chun Guochen opened the regional chat channel and sent the message he had prepared. The news I promised to share. The first natural disaster will be a storm lasting 2 full days and 2 nights. You should upgrade your islands as soon as possible. For a split second after the message was sent, the channel fell silent. Then it erupted. A storm that lasts 2 days and 2 nights? I don't even have a proper shelter on my island. The wind might sweep me and my island away. Is there any point continuing to survive then? Can you believe it? The 7-day novice protection period hasn't even ended, yet we face such a deadly threat. It feels as though the system wants us dead. The system doesn't seek to kill everyone. It eliminates those who cannot adapt. Harsh words, yet there's truth to it. Even with advance warning, I don't see how I can survive. Still, thank you, Senior. Chun Guochen glanced over the messages, then typed another line. Do not give up. For days remain, and the future is uncertain. Focus on what you can do now. After sending it, he closed the channel. This was no time to sink into despair over others' negative emotions. It was time to cultivate. Beside him, Little Star Cluster was already absorbing starlight energy. Chen Guochen had considered activating the Star Vein Resonance Bond. However, both Star Vein Resonance Island and the Fishing Rod ability were currently Tier 2. If he removed the Fishing Rod trait, there was no guarantee he would draw another supply fishing ability. For now, he had to leave things as they were. Meanwhile, activity continued in the regional chat. Chen Shi, thank you for the warning, Senior. I can add a note. My island is already Tier 2. Both seniors are incredibly generous. Is there anyone who can confirm if this premonition information is genuine? How could he know about the natural disaster ahead of time? The senior gains nothing by lying to us. The storm will arrive in 4 days. After all, think carefully. Zhou Mingyuan. Hello everyone. Sorry to interrupt your conversation. I have founded a mutual aid alliance and invite anyone interested to join. Among my rewards was a rare grade cultivation manual. I am willing to share the opening chapters so everyone may begin cultivating. Before dawn broke fully, Chen Guochen felt a heavy weight pressing on his chest and something continuously tapping his forehead. Chen Guochen blinked awake. A silver-gray avian face hovered inches from his nose. He froze for a moment. He lifted the bird off his chest and held it up to inspect. It had nearly doubled in size overnight. From palm-sized, it had grown to the size of a typical owl in a single night. Little Star Cluster? Gee. Star Cluster tilted its head and cried. Chen Guochen sat up, placed the bird on his lap, and rubbed his eyes to confirm he was not imagining the transformation. Realizing he had never checked its status panel, he opened it now. Name, Silver Knight Star Eagle Rank, Tier 2 Bloodline, Transcendent. Description, Sky Overlord attuned to star power. Upon reaching adulthood, it will naturally attain Tier 4. Growth accelerates in environments rich with starlight energy. So absorbing starlight makes you grow bigger. And you reach Tier 4 once fully mature? You're far more powerful than I realized, Little Star Cluster. GG. Understood. I'll prepare your beast feed right away. Wait a moment. He climbed out of bed and pulled the beast feed balls he had made the previous day out of his system storage space, holding them out to Star Cluster. Star Cluster snatched one up in an instant, and it vanished. After finishing the first, it tilted its head and opened its beak. The second, then the third, it ate 5 in a row before stopping. Chen Guochen glanced at its rounded belly. At the rate you eat, I'll need to stock up on far more supplies. The morning sea breeze was chillier than the day before, carrying dampness as it swept in off the waves. Time to get to work. Today I'm upgrading the island to Tier 3. He grabbed his fishing rod and walked to his usual spot by the shore, casting the line into the water. Ding. Obtained fresh water times 1L. Ding. Obtained wooden treasure chest times 1. Ding. Obtained stone times 5. Ding. Obtained iron treasure chest times 1. Ding. Fishing attempt failed. His 5 regular fishing attempts had gone well today, even yielding an iron treasure chest. He opened the 2 chests one after another. The wooden treasure chest contained beast meat times 2, iron ore times 3, leather boots times 1. The iron treasure chest held sailor leather pants fine grade, iron pickaxe fine grade, beast trap fine grade. After stowing everything away, he lay back down. The void space unfolded before his eyes once more, pale blue light rippling as supplies drifted slowly through the emptiness. Ding. Obtained night vision potion times 1. Ding. Obtained silver treasure chest times 1. Ding. Obtained iron treasure chest times 1. Ding. Obtained weapon maintenance fluid times 1. Ding. Obtained small villa blueprint times 1. I finally got a silver treasure chest. Wish me luck, Little Star Cluster. Following his usual routine, Chen Guochen opened the iron treasure chest first to warm up. Inside were an arrow tower blueprint, sailor scimitar crafting blueprint, and sailor leather armor crafting blueprint. With only the silver treasure chest left, Chen Guochen undid its latch and let Star Cluster kick it open. Name, Meteor Spear Rank. Excellent description. The spear weighs 5,000 Jin. Its strikes fall like crashing meteors. When wielded by star-attuned creatures, it automatically adjusts to a comfortable heft for the user, though its actual weight remains unchanged. Name, Basic Spear Arts Skill Book Rank. Excellent description. Grants mastery of foundational spear techniques upon use. Name, Island Relocation Scroll Rank. Excellent description. Allows an island below Tier 4 to be moved to any location within a 50-kilometer radius upon activation. Today really is my lucky day. A meteor spear and the Basic Spear Arts Skill Book. I could practically roleplay Zhao Yun of Changshan now. The island relocation scroll will serve well as an escape option. Star Cluster squatted beside him, watching the glowing orbs inside the treasure chest and tilting its head. Every time Chen Guochen picked up an orb, it chirped, as if celebrating alongside him. Chen Guochen flicked its forehead. It flinched, then boldly leaned forward to peck at his fingers. All right, enough fooling around. Let's head back and tend to important matters. Chen Guochen slipped on the new leather boots and tossed his old footwear straight into the ocean. Shame there's no proper waste disposal here. Guess this is the best I can do for this world's environment. He stood, ready to return to the wooden cabin and sort his inventory. He still needed one final batch of materials for the Tier 3 island upgrade. Fishing rods were unlikely to sell much longer, so he would try trading other resources. If that failed, he could gather materials on the Star Vein Resonance Island. Bringing Star Cluster back to the cabin, Chen Guochen first activated the Small Villa Blueprint. Name: Small Villa Blueprint. Rank: Fine Grade. Description: can be activated directly. Upon use, the small wooden cabin on the island will be transformed into a small villa. The moment he activated it, the wooden cabin morphed instantly into a 2-story villa. Gray flagstones formed the foundation and base walls, while wax-sealed logs made up the rest of the structure. The pointed roof gave it a total area of 240 square meters. The ground floor held a living room, workbench area, and storage chamber. The open hearth had become a stone fireplace. Upstairs were bedrooms, a common hall, a balcony, and a washroom. After inspecting his new home, Star Cluster was just as excited as Chen Guochen, darting back and forth inside and outside the building. Next, Chen Guochen activated the Arrow Tower Blueprint. Name: Arrow Tower Blueprint. Rank: Fine Grade. Description: once constructed, the Arrow Tower automatically attacks creatures that enter its range, though arrows must be loaded manually. Required materials: stone times 20, timber times 40. Without further delay, he used the basic spear art skill book. In an instant, a flood of knowledge regarding spear handling and combat techniques flooded his mind. Chen Guochen took out the meteor spear to practice. Just as the description stated, it felt manageable in his grip. Moving like a veteran spearman who had trained for years, he began twirling the weapon. He had yet to fully grow accustomed to it, yet muscle memory guided his movements, making his spearwork fluid and natural. As he practiced, a cold mechanical voice echoed out, identical to the announcement he had heard on the first day after transmigration. Ding! Global announcement. Congratulations on surviving for 3 full days. To help you prepare for the natural disaster arriving in 3 days' time, countless new islands have been scattered across the sea. These islands vary in size and resources. The abundance of materials is tied to the strength of creatures dwelling upon them, and you must explore them yourselves. Furthermore, every island hosts a dominant creature. Slaying it will drop an island treasure chest, which randomly yields one of 7 rewards: architectural blueprints, crafting schematics, transcendent materials, equipment, plant seeds, mineral veins, or skill books. Remember, opportunity always walks hand in hand with danger. Once the voice faded, Chen Guochen stowed the meteor spear and scanned the ocean as he processed the announcement. It seemed the system was giving them a fighting chance. He would no longer have to rely solely on his 5 daily fishing attempts to gather supplies. Star Cluster flew down from the rooftop and landed on his shoulder, letting out a chirp before stretching one wing to point toward the western sea. Chen Guochen followed the direction of its wing. Far out on the water, he could faintly make out the silhouette of an island. A newly spawned island. It was not overly distant. He stared at the landmass for a while. The storm would arrive in 3 days, and new islands were appearing now. He had originally planned to acquire the remaining upgrade materials through the trading market today, raise the island to Tier 3, then stay safely confined on his own land. Things could no longer stay that way. He had just learned basic spear arts and obtained a suitable weapon, not to mention his powerful companion Star Cluster. Truly, plans never survive contact with reality. Chen Guochen donned his sailor leather armor. He stored the meteor spear, healing potions, and bandages in his system storage. He strapped the sailor scimitar to his waist and held his crossbow in hand. Star Cluster perched on his shoulder, folding its wings as its silver-blue eyes locked onto the western horizon, letting out low trills every few moments. The wooden boat cut a thin white trail across the sea. Star Cluster crouched at the bow, its silvery gray feathers ruffled by the ocean wind. Chen Guochen gripped the oars, moving his arms in steady strokes. The island to the west grew clearer in his view, a jagged gray-black base stretching in a long curved shape, resembling the spine of a giant beast resting atop the waves. A low ridgeline rose at the island's center, covered in dark green vegetation. He roughly estimated its size. It was more than 10 times larger than his Star Vein Resonance Island, stretching nearly 2 kilometers across at its widest visible point. Around 4 square kilometers, equivalent to over 500 football fields put together. He muttered quietly. Star Cluster ignored his comment, suddenly straightening its neck and spreading its wings slightly. Chen Guochen grew alert, tracing its line of sight. Roughly 5 meters beneath the surface, a long dark shadow glided slowly beneath the boat. It stretched over 3 meters in length, moving sluggishly with no sign of surfacing to attack. He kept rowing, never taking his eyes off the shape until it drifted away and vanished into the deep blue seawater. Landing went smoothly. Chen Guochen pulled the small boat ashore and stepped onto the gravel beach. A faint sulfur tang lingered in the island's air, seeping up from cracks in the ground. Star Cluster took flight from his shoulder, circling low once before returning and pointing east with its wing. Chen Guochen nodded, sheathing his scimitar and drawing the meteor spear as he headed inland. Nearly no large creatures roamed the outer 500 meters. Only occasional tidal crabs scuttled in and out of rock crevices. After crossing a stretch of low, gray-green scrubland, the terrain began to slope upward. The volcanic rock beneath his feet turned into massive black slabs. The ground grew far drier, moss thinned out, and vast stretches of dark gray bedrock lay exposed. The sulfur scent strengthened, mixed with a rank animal stench. Star Cluster shifted restlessly on his shoulder, fluttering its wings. Chen Guochen slowed his pace. He knew well that such unnatural quiet always meant trouble. Sure enough, after rounding a 2-meter-tall black boulder, 7 gray-brown creatures came into view resting on the open rock slab. They basked in the sunlight, each around 1.5 meters long, with stocky limbs. Broad flat heads pressed against the ground, rows of low bony spines running along their backs, and thick tails curled slightly upward at the tip. Name: Gray Ridge Rock Lizard. Rank: Tier 1. Description: the primary species native to Gray Ridge Island. A social creature adept at climbing volcanic terrain and coordinating group hunts. After reading the status information, Chen Guochen did not charge forward immediately. He crouched behind the boulder and observed for more than 10 seconds. The 7 lizards were not positioned randomly, formed a semicircle surrounding a sunken gray rock hollow, while 3 patrolled further out on guard. The largest individual at the center bore longer spines along its back. It was clearly the alpha of the pack. Star Cluster tilted its head, glancing between Chen Guochen and the lizards, then tapped his shoulder with its claws, as if asking whether to attack. Chen Guochen tightened his grip on the meteor spear. Let's go. He darted out from the side of the boulder, dragging the meteor spear along the ground to leave a trail, its tip scraping sparks against the volcanic rock. The 3 outer sentinel lizards reacted first, letting out shrill warning hisses that sounded like rough stones grinding against each other. The 4 inner lizards turned at once, tightening their formation and drawing closer to their alpha. They know how to stick together. Chen Guochen did not give them extra time to organize. Lifting the spear, he aimed the tip straight at the nearest outer lizard. The beast charged to meet him, surging forward on all 4 limbs, jaws wide to reveal rows of fine white fangs, targeting his right calf. At the same time, a second outer lizard sprinted sideways low to the ground, timing its strike perfectly to block both his forward advance and any evasive movement. The 2 lizards fought in seamless coordination. If this had been the Chen Guochen who had just transmigrated 3 days prior, he would have taken a bite. Now, however, the muscle memory granted by basic spear arts let his hands react faster than his mind. The instant the spear tip would have pierced the first lunging lizard, he twisted his wrist and shifted the thrust into a horizontal sweep. The 5,000 gene spear shaft slammed into the lizard's jaw with a heavy thud. Before it could sink its teeth into his leg, the impact shattered its body. The second lizard was already within 30 centimeters of his left calf. Star Cluster pushed off his shoulder without a sound. The silvery gray bird dove like an arrow, its claws sinking firmly into the soft skin at the lizard's neck. A sharp crack, and the creature collapsed motionless. Chen Guochen did not look back. His gaze stayed locked on the alpha at the center. With 2 of their number fallen, the remaining 5 lizards repositioned. 2 guarded the alpha's front, 1 circled around to the right, another scrambled onto a nearby rock ledge to strike from above, and the last retreated to block the hollow entrance, the only escape route. Chen Guochen watched the arrangement, faintly surprised. Solid teamwork. Even as the words left his mouth, he charged into their formation. The meteor spear felt alive in his grasp. The tip stabbed toward the lizard guarding the alpha's right flank. The beast twisted to dodge, yet as the spear tip grazed the scales on its neck, he flipped the thrust into an upward heave, hurling the lizard onto its back. He maintained the spear's momentum, spinning the shaft to bring it crashing down onto the lizard circling from the right. The bony plate along its spine splintered instantly, bone fragments and blood spraying outward. The lizard let out a brief hiss before collapsing limply on the rock. The lizard on the ledge dove toward him from 2 meters overhead. Star Cluster had returned unseen, slamming sideways into the beast's abdomen. Its claws dug into the lizard's ribs, and the momentum of the collision sent it crashing onto exposed bedrock. A spiderweb of cracks spread across the stone, sending fragments flying. Only 2 opponents remained, the Alpha and the lizard blocking the hollow. The Alpha let out a roar but stayed back, refusing to advance. The guard lizard surged forward to attack. Instead of dodging, Chen Guochen drove the spear tip straight through its open jaws, piercing through its skull. The tip poked out slightly from behind its cranial plate, dripping dark red blood. The lizard stiffened mid-leap, then crashed heavily to the ground. Only the Alpha remained. Behind it lay the hollow entrance, its only path to retreat, yet it did not flee. Its narrow gray-green pupils fixed steadily on Chen Guochen, the spines along its back standing fully erect, tail pressed flat against the rock as it prepared for a final stand. Chen Guochen pulled the spear free from the fallen lizard, blood dripping down the shaft to stain the volcanic stone in a line of dark red. "You're their leader?" He took 1 step forward. The Alpha roared and lunged forward, faster than the ordinary lizards. It was already too late. The meteor spear swept horizontally from Chen Guochen's side, the tip piercing a thin gap between scales on the Alpha's neck. Chen Guochen twisted his wrist to rotate the spear shaft, wrenching the lizard's neck sideways before forcing it downward. The Alpha's spine crashed against the rock. The sound of splintering spines popped like firecrackers, scattering gray-brown shards everywhere. The battle was over. The entire fight had lasted merely minutes. All 7 Tier 1 rock lizards lay dead, the ground littered with broken bone spines, dark bloodstains, and scattered rock dust. Chen Guochen glanced at Star Cluster. "Thanks, little Star Cluster. Are you hurt anywhere?" Star Cluster stretched its wings briefly, then folded them back, chirping twice to signal it was unharmed. Chen Guochen said no more and knelt to loot the battlefield. On closer inspection, every lizard he had struck with the meteor spear had been torn apart, leaving little usable material. In the end, he only harvested Gray Ridge Rock Lizard Meat ×2, Gray Ridge Rock Lizard Hide ×1, Gray Ridge Rock Lizard Claw ×4, Gray Ridge Rock Lizard Tendon ×4, Gray Ridge Rock Lizard Blood ×200 ml. Once he finished gathering materials, Star Cluster flew back to his shoulder and tilted its head to rub its beak against his ear. Chen Guochen wiped the blood from the spear's shaft against some grass and slung the weapon over his shoulder. "Let's keep going." Past the open ground where the 7 lizards had made their home, the terrain rose sharply. Layered volcanic rock formed terrace steps roughly half a meter high each, their surfaces marked by rust-red patches. Chen Guochen climbed upward, meteor spear held horizontally before him as his eyes scanned every shadow. After ascending around 20 meters, he spotted 2 more lizards napping beneath an overhanging rock slab. They were slightly larger than the previous group, bearing 2 extra pairs of back spines, their scales a deeper shade of near black-gray. "Just 2. He glanced sideways at Star Cluster and lowered his voice. "The left one's yours, the right one's mine." Star Cluster fluttered its wings twice in acknowledgement. Chen Guochen stowed the meteor spear in system storage and drew his sailor scimitar. The blade glinted pale white in the afternoon sunlight. It was far lighter than the meteor spear, more than enough to deal with Tier 1 lizards. He switched weapons for one simple reason. Using the meteor spear against 2 isolated Tier 1 creatures would be overkill, and he would likely destroy too much usable loot. He crept along the rock toward the lizard on the right. His footsteps made only faint rustling sounds against the volcanic stone. The lizard remained unaware, half buried in a shallow depression with its belly pressed against the warm rock, basking comfortably. 3 meters away, Chen Guochen burst forward. The scimitar slashed downward, aiming straight for the pale seam of scales on the lizard's neck. The blade sliced through scales, muscle, and blood vessels in one clean motion. The lizard did not even have time to make a sound. Its body tensed for an instant before going limp. Chen Guochen sheathed the blade and turned to check Star Cluster. The bird had pierced the second lizard's neck with its claws, twisting its head at an unnatural angle. Star Cluster flipped the creature over with its talons to inspect it. "You strike even more ruthlessly than I do." Star Cluster puffed out its chest and let out a triumphant chirp. After dismantling the materials, the man and beast continued to advance cautiously. The ridge grew steeper higher up. The surface of the volcanic rock was dotted with irregular hollows, indentations left by repeated heavy impacts. The stench of sulfur in the air also grew stronger. Xingtuan shrank its neck on his shoulder, feathers tightening slightly. Chen Guoqian caught an unusual scent as well, far thicker than the odor exuded by the rock lizards on the outer slopes. He clambered over the last 2-meter-tall black boulder, and his view suddenly opened up. The summit of the central ridge on Grayspine Island formed a relatively flat clearing, roughly the size of a basketball court, ringed by black rock pillars of varying heights. The ground had been worn smooth and shiny. Right in the middle of this open stretch, a massive creature lay prone on the bare rock. This Grayspine rock lizard was more than twice the size of the juvenile specimens outside, nearly 4 meters long. Its tope scales were thick and coarse. A row of sharp, bony spines ran from the nape of its neck all the way to the tip of its tail, each honed like a stone spearhead. Its amber vertical pupils hung half-lidded, and its tail swept slowly across the ground, grinding every stone it touched into fine powder. Rank 2. Perched atop the island's highest point. It must be the dominant creature of this island. Chen Guoqian crouched behind the boulder, not daring to make a hasty move. His gaze swept the surroundings. The Rank 2 rock lizard was not alone. 5 Rank 1 rock lizards formed a circular perimeter around it, positioned with ruthless efficiency. Less than 10 meters separated each one, leaving almost no gaps to slip through. 5 guards, 1 king. Chen Guoqian retrieved the meteor spear from his system space, gripping the shaft firmly. A frontal charge won't work. I need to take out the outer guards first. He had just mapped out his battle plan in his mind when the Rank 2 rock lizard suddenly stirred. It lifted its head, and its amber vertical pupils locked precisely onto the boulder where Chen Guoqian hid, 10 meters away. He had been spotted. Chen Guoqian had no time to wonder how the beast detected him. The Rank 2 rock lizard rose to its feet. When it stood, its 4-meter frame stretched out fully. Its spine arched, the bony spines standing rigidly upright. Its tail crashed against the rock surface with a sharp crack, shattering the black stone slab it struck. Move! Chen Guoqian burst out from behind the boulder. Before he even landed, 2 of the guard lizards lunged at him simultaneously, attacking from left and right. Their coordination mirrored what he had seen before, but Chen Guoqian had no intention of engaging them in a prolonged fight this time. Xingtuan, handle the smaller ones. As he twisted to dodge the lunge from the lizard on his left, Xingtuan blurred into a streak of silver-gray feathers from his shoulder and slammed into the side of the guard lizard on the right. As a Rank 2 creature against a Rank 1 foe, Xingtuan's claws dug into gaps between the scales and wrenched hard. The guard lizard let out a short shriek and was flipped onto its back. Ignoring the skirmish beside him, Chen Guoqian kept moving straight toward the Rank 2 rock lizard. The Rank 2 beast did not wait for him to close in. It unleashed a roar that vibrated Chen Guoqian's eardrums, then charged straight at him. Its 4-meter body carried a weight of at least 1 ton. All 4 limbs pushed off the ground, scraping 4 white gashes into the volcanic rock. Chen Guoqian did not attempt to block the charge head-on. At the very last moment before the lizard crashed into him, he rolled sideways, sliding past the underside of its torso. But he had not finished his roll when the lizard's tail whipped toward the spot where he would land, the heavy tail club cutting through the air. Boom! The tail smashed into a half-human-tall black rock pillar. The pillar snapped cleanly at its base. The upper section flew 3 meters away and shattered into 3 fragments upon hitting another rock face. Chen Guoqian's pupils narrowed. The gap between Rank 1 and Rank 2 was far larger than he had imagined. If he had been half a second slower, that tail would have struck his waist. He was not certain if he could have survived the blow. Having missed its target, the Rank 2 rock lizard did not pursue. Instead, it stepped back slightly, lowering its center of gravity once more. Its amber vertical pupils fixed on him, holding not the wild rage of a common beast, but a chilling, calculating scrutiny. Chen Guoqian struck first amid the standoff. The meteor spear stabbed diagonally, aimed at the root of the lizard's foreleg. The Rank 2 rock lizard raised its paw to block. Scales clashed against spear tip, yet the beast had underestimated the meteor spear. The sharp point pierced straight through its forepaw. The moment the spearhead sank into the lizard's paw, Chen Guoqian felt far less resistance than he expected. The tip did not glance off the scales. It sliced through them like hot butter, protruding slightly out the top of the paw. Dark red blood streamed down the shaft. The lizard reacted faster than pain could register. It slammed its paw downward, trying to snap the spear shaft, but only worsened its injury. At the same time, its tail whipped toward Chen Guoqian. Unwilling to prolong the exchange, Chen Guochen twisted the spear free the instant he gained an advantage and rolled left. The tail club swept past his shoulder by a hair's breadth. The rank 2 rock lizard stared down at the bleeding hole in its left forepaw. Its amber pupils constricted sharply, and it let out a short, shrill cry. Its odds of victory were slipping away. The rank 2 rock lizard seemed to realize this as well. Its posture shifted in a matter of seconds. It pressed its spine lower to the ground, tail flat against the rock, shifting its weight backward. Suddenly, all 4 limbs pushed off at once. The 4-meter body launched forward like a cannonball, targeting the overhanging boulder behind Chen Guochen. The lizard had no intention of striking him directly. It planned to smash the boulder. The upper section jutted out over a steep slope. If it crumbled, cascading rock debris would bury Chen Guochen alive. Xingtuan, who had just finished off its opponents below, spotted the maneuver. It let out a cry and raced over at once. The lizard's plan was sound, but Chen Guochen had anticipated it. The second the rock lizard launched itself forward, Chen Guochen raised the meteor spear high above his head. Channeling all his strength, he brought the spear crashing vertically downward in a mighty overhead strike. The spear carried 5,000 jin of momentum combined with Chen Guochen's full force. The rock lizard was already mid-leap, less than 5 meters away from the overhanging boulder. It had calculated the distance, the angle, and how its impact would shear off the upper ledge. It had assumed Chen Guochen would have no time to escape, but it had failed to account for one thing. Chen Guochen had predicted its strategy from the very start. Suspended in the air with nowhere to evade, the rock lizard took the blow full force. The massive shaft, amplified by Chen Guochen's downward weight, crushed its torso. The beast's body snapped in two, lifeless. Chen Guochen turned to Xingtuan perched on his shoulder. How did you know I could stop it? You just hovered and watched. Xingtuan tilted its head and chirped at him. A system notification popped up at that moment. Ding. Slain rank 2 Greyspine Island Dominant Creature. Greyspine Rock Lizard Chieftain. 1 island chest has dropped. Please collect it. Once the notification faded, a bronze chest etched with an island pattern appeared beside the rank 2 lizard's corpse. Chen Guochen opened the island chest without hesitation. Inside rested only a single glowing orb. Name: Star Rune Workshop Blueprint Grade. Excellent description. Allows construction of a Star Rune Workshop, used for carving star runes and inscriptions. Construction materials: Star Spirit Stone ×1, Iron ×200. Star Rune Workshop. More star-related properties. I already have all the materials. I'll build it as soon as I get back and see what it can do. Xingtuan edged closer, poking its head near his hand to study the orb before looking back up at him and chirping again. He stood and took one last glance over the ridge summit. He decomposed the rank 2 rock lizard's remains, gaining rank 2 Greyspine Rock Lizard Meat ×20, rank 2 Greyspine Rock Lizard Hide ×3, rank 2 Greyspine Rock Lizard Claw ×4, rank 2 Greyspine Rock Lizard Tendon, 200 milliliters rank 2 Greyspine Rock Lizard Blood. After packing everything away, Xingtuan flew back to rest on his shoulder. Chen Guochen stroked its head gently. Let's head home. Xingtuan chirped in reply. Upon returning to his island, Chen Guochen immediately attempted to construct the Star Rune Workshop. Construction failed. Insufficient island space available. I should not have built the villa so early. The whole island is only 300 square meters, and the villa alone takes up 120. I need to upgrade to rank 3 island tomorrow. He checked the trading marketplace. 31 of the 50 fishing rods he had listed had sold. Demand appeared to be leveling off, but it was enough. He had already gathered half the base materials required for the rank 3 island upgrade. The sky outside began to darken. After preparing his evening meal, Chen Guochen opened the regional chat channel to see how the other survivors were faring. Has anyone found the reward island the big shot mentioned? I built a raft today, but couldn't locate it. I did find a system-spawned island though, not much danger there. Same here, no luck finding it. I told everyone there's no such thing as a reward island. That so-called expert tricked you all. You fools fell for it, and still sing his praises. How are you even still alive? Can the heavens please get rid of this guy? Just ignore him. The reward island was probably time-limited. I got rewards from it yesterday, and the system announcement today makes it clear. Events always have a set duration, just like in games. It's a shame we missed out, but we still gained something. If everyone hadn't been chasing rumors of the reward island, we never would have dared sail to the new system islands. Lucky we learned how to weave rafts from expert Chun. How can you risk sailing so far out on just a raft? I barely escaped a sea beast when I didn't go far from shore today. What other choice do we have? Stay on our islands and slowly perish, or take a chance on the raft? Chen Guochen scrolled through the messages. Nothing particularly noteworthy stood out. Most survivors were still finding their footing. Some had reached new islands, others were still building rafts. Progress across the region varied wildly, yet the gap between survivors was slowly widening. One message caught his eye, sent by an ID named Zhou Mingyuan, the man who had claimed to found the Mutual Aid Society. He had pinned the message, likely using a special item. Members of the Mutual Aid Society have exceeded 100. Tonight, I will share the opening segment of my cultivation manual publicly in this channel. Anyone may view it. I hope we can support one another and survive these seas. Dozens of replies followed, filled with gratitude, skepticism, and requests for membership. Chen Guichen skimmed past them. He had no need to join an organization for now, yet groups like this were beneficial, helping more people stay alive. Then another distinct message appeared. Chen Shi, I found another island. It held a pack of rank 1 creatures. After defeating their chieftain, an island chest dropped, matching the official announcement. The reward island near my location has vanished, confirming it was time-limited. Don't waste time searching for it anymore. The expert is incredible. I'm still rank 0. How strong is rank 1 anyway? Don't ask me. I have no clue. No matter what world I'm in, I'm doomed to be stuck doing all the grunt work. I feel that. Zhou Mingyuan. Expert Chen Guichen, please accept my friend request when you see this. I have important matters to discuss, and I will not waste your time. Wow, are the top experts planning to team up? Everyone come quick, there's drama unfolding. Chen Guichen had not expected his name to pop up in public chat. He had ignored all private messages up to this point, finding them cumbersome. He opened his private message inbox and spotted Zhou Mingyuan's friend request, accepting it. Zhou Mingyuan, I'd like to invite you to a group chat. I will share vital information there, and you may leave at any time once I finish speaking. I promise not to pester you. Zhou Mingyuan invites you to join Group 666 Regional Exchange. Accept? Accept. Zhou Mingyuan. Hello everyone. Most of the invitees have arrived. I will share key information now. Please hold your questions until I finish speaking. First, I will reveal my talent. Epic Great Informant. I randomly receive 3 pieces of intelligence each day. Everyone in this group ranks within the top 100 for combat power or resource wealth across Region 666. That is 2 of my intelligence entries. The reason I gathered you all ties to the 3rd piece of intelligence. Survivors within a region are not mere competitors, but allies. Regional conflicts will begin in the future, and the number of survivors remaining in each region will carry great importance. Additionally, the system will release an event on the 6th day. I do not know the specifics. You may raise questions now. Lu Jihan, why should we believe you? You have no evidence to back these claims. Zhou Mingyuan, I cannot provide proof of the regional conflict news. Intelligence granted by my talent is only visible to me. I do not demand you trust me outright, only that you remain vigilant to the possibility. As for the 2nd piece of intelligence, you will have more than a day to verify it yourselves. Shermang, I don't care about all this. Can you tell us the combat power rankings? Am I on the list? Zhou Mingyuan, I will not publish the rankings unless every member here agrees. Shermang, don't stay quiet everyone. Speak up if you agree. Xiong Kaishan, I agree. Tang Shuiyao. Chen Guichen is in this group, right? I want to ask if the first natural disaster will really be the storm you warned about. Chen Guichen had not anticipated being questioned. If Zhou Mingyuan's words held true, everyone here was among the strongest survivors. Building his reputation among them would work to his advantage. Chen Guichen, I have no reason to deceive you. I learned of the storm through a prophecy scroll. Furthermore, I can confirm Zhou Mingyuan's claim about regional conflicts. I cannot verify the rest. Tang Shuiyao, thank you for answering. Zhou Mingyuan, I appreciate your support. Shermang, so can we see the combat rankings now? Chen Shi, that explains why you founded the Mutual Aid Society, to assist survivors who are falling behind. Zhou Mingyuan, correct. I will never force members of the Mutual Aid Society to act against their will, nor will I seek personal profit. You all can keep me accountable. I hope you can trust me. Of course, this group is open for free exchange. As top-tier survivors, you can trade resources you cannot buy or sell on the public marketplace directly here. Finally, I hope everyone understands one truth. We all come from the same homeland, the same race. In this alien world, we are natural allies. Even for your own personal growth, remember this simple truth: demand relies on population. Without enough survivors, there can be no market at all. Shermang, so can we publish the combat rankings? Chirp, 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 chirp. Chen Guichen opened one eye. Xingtuan stood on his chest, its silver-blue round eyes fixed on him, beak opening and closing as it chirped insistently. It looked noticeably larger than it had the previous day. You. Chen Guochen lifted the bird off his chest and set it aside, sitting up and rubbing his sore sternum. Can you find another way to wake me up next time? Xingtuan tilted its head and stared at him for 2 seconds. It spread its wings, flapped them, hopped around on the bed, and resumed chirping nonstop. You're hungry, aren't you? Chen Guochen sighed and swung his legs over the bed to stand. The fire in the hearth had burned out. Dawn was just breaking outside, casting dim gray light over the villa. Chen Guochen retrieved beast feed from system space and fed Xingtuan pellet by pellet. The morning sea breeze washed over him as he carried his fishing rod to his usual spot on the shore, casting the line into the water. Ding. Obtained fresh water times 2L. Ding. Obtained wooden chest times 1. Ding. Fishing attempt failed. Ding. Obtained stone times 8. Ding. Obtained foodkin times 2. He had used all 5 daily fishing attempts. The haul was unremarkable. Chen Guochen reeled in the rod and opened the wooden chest, gaining beast meat times 3, iron times 5, bandage times 2. He then crouched down and extended his right hand toward the seawater. Share. His vision shifted, and his perspective transferred to the material storage dimension. Ding. Obtained wooden chest times 1. Ding. Obtained wooden chest times 1. Ding. Obtained iron chest times 1. Ding. Obtained silver chest times 1. Ding. Obtained island expansion scroll times 1. The void faded, and the sensation of the sea returned. Chen Guochen shook the water off his hands, stood up, and a smile tugged at his lips once more. A promising start. He sat down on the sandy shore and opened the chests. 2 wooden chests yielded basic resources: stone times 12, soil times 8, timber times 10. The iron chest contained his familiar constitution potion and spirit potion, alongside one more item, a beast lair construction scroll. Name: Beast Lair Construction Scroll. Rank: Fine description: use it targeting a creature to spawn a dwelling suitable for it. Next was the last silver chest. Name: Logistics Automaton. Rank: Excellent description: powered by solar energy. 5 minutes of charging grants 2 hours of operation. Name: Upgrade Scroll. Rank: Excellent description: elevates the rank of items and equipment ranked excellent or lower by 1 tier. Name: Island Barrier Scroll. Rank: Excellent description: deploys a protective barrier encircling the island upon activation. After reviewing all rewards, Chen Guochen had already mapped out how to use each one. He drank the 2 potions, then took out the Island Expansion Scroll and the Upgrade Scroll. He first upgraded the Expansion Scroll, then activated it toward the Star Vein Resonance Island. Name: Island Expansion Scroll. Rank: Excellent description: increases the island's area by 500 square meters upon use. Ding. Activation successful. Island area increased by 500 square meters. A faint tremor ran through the ground beneath his feet. The island's coastline visibly stretched outward, its outline subtly expanding. Chen Guochen stood at the island's center and glanced around. 300 square meters had grown to 800, more than doubling its size. He then brought out the Beast Lair Construction Scroll and aimed it at Star Cluster, who tilted its head watching his movements. A beam of white light shot forth from the scroll and landed beside the bird. Star Cluster let out a startled chirp and fluttered backward 2 paces. Beneath the eaves on the eastern side of the villa, set into the rock wall, an arched stone nest materialized out of thin air. Star Cluster circled the nest, tilted its head in observation, and scratched the cushioned floor with its claws. 2 seconds later, it poked its head out and chirped toward Chen Guochen. Glad you like it. Hearing his reply, Star Cluster buried its head once more and settled down. Only the Island Barrier Scroll and the Logistics Automaton remained. Chen Guochen activated the Island Barrier Scroll first. A hemispherical shroud wrapped around the island, nearly invisible unless closely observed. As for the Logistics Automaton, Chen Guochen walked to the shore, fetched his small wooden boat, climbed aboard, and rowed toward Grayspine Island. Little Star Cluster perched on the prow, its silvery blue eyes fixed on the water for a long while. It suddenly dipped toward the waves to splash seawater. Once ashore, he guided the automaton across the open stretch, circling the ridge where the 7 rock lizards had once resided. At the foot of Grayspine Island lay exposed bedrock covered in a decent layer of soil. This spot will do. As he spoke, Chen Guochen summoned the Logistics Automaton. The palm-sized metal figure landed on the ground, clicking its joints. Chen Guochen had not expected the automaton to be so small, yet he issued his command regardless. Gather stone and soil here. The automaton's sensors flickered and emitted a short beep. It began expanding rapidly, growing to the size of a transformer mech. Once fully transformed, the automaton swung its pick hard against the rock face. Stone scattered, its efficiency far exceeding expectations. Not bad. Far more efficient than me. Chen Guoqian did not idle. Retrieving his fine iron pickaxe from his inventory, he moved to another rock outcrop a dozen meters away and began mining. He saw no point waiting idly. There was nothing urgent to attend to for now. Star Cluster hopped between stones nearby. Sometimes it pecked at small insects hiding in cracks, sometimes spread its wings to fly high on patrol. Midway through, Star Cluster flew off. It returned clutching a palm-sized fish in its talons, landed on a rock beside Chen Guoqian, and swallowed the fish whole. After 3 hours of labor, enough materials to upgrade the island had been gathered. Weariness washed over Chen Guoqian. Over those 3 hours, he and the automaton mined a combined 1,006 units of stone and 1,247 units of soil. Staring at the numbers, Chen Guoqian let out a relieved breath. That's sufficient. Star Cluster flew down to rest on his shoulder and chirped, as if sharing his joy. Chen Guoqian instructed the automaton to continue mining on Greyspine Island, then headed back with Star Cluster to upgrade his island. The moment the boat touched shore, he practically leaped off. Striding quickly to the island's center, he drew a deep breath. Upgrade island. Ding. Upgrade successful. Stone 2000, Soil 2000, Star Spirit Crystal 1. Familiar white light engulfed the entire island. A deep rumble shook the ground, far stronger than the vibration during the second-tier upgrade. When Chen Guoqian opened his eyes, everything within sight had transformed. The third-tier Star Vein Resonance Island had more than doubled in scale. Island name, Star Vein Resonance Island Tier 3 area, 5,500 square meters buildings. None existing facilities, villa, workbench, farm plots. Expandable facilities, water well stone times 30, timber times 20 dock stone times 50, timber times 100, iron times 30, rope times 10 watchtower stone times 20, timber times 30 boundary wall stone times 500 farm plot soil times 9. Resources, Star Ore, Star Spring, Star Marrow Liquid, Star Soil Trait, Star Affinity, naturally draws benevolent star-aligned exotic beasts. Island Lord, Chen Guoqian next tier upgrade requirements. Stone times 12,000, soil times 12,000, 1 rare building, Star Spirit Crystal times 3, Island Lord reaches tier 3. Island evaluation. The island's land veins connect to the starry sky, forming a natural star power resonance field that absorbs stellar energy overnight. Chen Guoqian stood at the island's heart and slowly surveyed his newly upgraded third-tier island. He opened the island panel and read it carefully. Resource requirements for advancing to Tier 4 had risen sharply, yet new resources had also appeared. Star Spring, Star Marrow Liquid, Star Soil. 3 to 5 liters of Star Spring, 3 to 5 drops of Star Marrow Liquid every day. Star Soil boosted crop growth and might trigger mutations. Tier 3 marks a fundamental transformation, Chen Guoqian murmured, sensing the shifts within the island and within himself. He retrieved the pale golden blueprint for the Star Convergence Tower, testing whether it could be constructed. The blueprint vanished. White light erupted from the ground, and a massive silhouette rapidly solidified within the glow. Name, Star Convergence Tower. Rank, perfect. Description, the tower gathers and concentrates stellar power within. Chen Guoqian stepped inside. The interior far exceeded external expectations in size. After exploring the first floor, Chen Guoqian climbed the central spiral staircase to the second. Star power intensified further, and a subtle pressure weighed upon him. He attempted to proceed to the third floor, yet could not cross the threshold. He suspected he could access the second floor only thanks to his bond with Star Vein Resonance Island. He then walked south and brought out the Star Rune Workshop blueprint. Construct Star Rune Workshop. Iron 200, Star Spirit Crystal 1. A sturdy 2-story edifice materialized amid radiance, forged from dark gray alloy and covering roughly 400 square meters. Silver runes crisscrossed its walls. The main entrance stood open. The first floor featured wide workbenches lined with rune grooves. The second floor followed a similar layout with shorter benches and denser runic markings. Name, Star Rune Workshop. Rank, excellent. Description, the workshop has 2 floors. The first floor is dedicated to carving star runes onto weapons, the second for armor and accessories. A wide selection of runes is available. The number of runes that can be inscribed depends on equipment grade. Star rune carving requires star-attuned extraordinary materials, including Star Spirit Crystals, Star Marrow Liquid, and Star Ore. Compared to the Star Convergence Tower, the Star Rune Workshop interior was plain. No spatial magic or elaborate adornments, only several star rune engraving machines on each floor. One needed only to place equipment, select rune patterns, and insert materials such as star spirit crystals to begin engraving. With the two major northern and southern buildings completed, the central open land gained distinct layers. The star vein spring bubbled less than 10 meters east of the villa. The starfruit saplings in the 9 farm plots had grown to calf height, and the star soil glimmered gently. Chen Guochen swept his gaze across the land and took out the watchtower blueprint. He placed it on the western edge and confirmed construction. White light flashed, and an 8-meter-tall wooden watchtower rose on the island's western shore. Climbing it granted an expansive view overlooking most of the sea. He built the water well, dock, and additional farm plots as well. The dock sat along the southern shallows, a half-open wooden shelter equipped with berths and a repair platform. Seawater flowed into the slips and receded with the waves. The water well appeared beside the villa, resembling a naturally formed cavern. New farm plots were added next to the original 9, expanding the grid from 9 to 18 sections. The Star Convergence Tower loomed in the north, its summit crystal slowly rotating to absorb star power. The Star Rune Workshop rested quietly in the south, silver runes flickering. The dock slips waited for vessels. The star vein spring burbled clear fresh water at the center. 18 farm plots shimmered with faint starlight. The villa occupied the absolute center, guarded by the eastern Arrow Tower and watched over by the western watchtower. Perfect. All buildings are finished. Next, I should examine the new Tier 3 island resources closely. Name, Star Spring Rank. Fine description, spring water infused with trace star power. Consumption slightly improves physical constitution. It can also serve as alchemical material or plant fertilizer. Name, Star Marrow Liquid Rank. Excellent description, moderately enhances physical adaptability to star power. Aids cultivation for star-aligned exotic beasts. It serves widely as alchemical raw material. Name, Star Soil Rank. Fine description, soil permeated with faint star power. Accelerates plant growth, favors star-type vegetation. It carries a chance of triggering mutations in ordinary flora. All precious resources, yet my stock of basic materials is low. Speaking of supplies, Chen Guochen suddenly remembered he had left the logistics automaton mining on Grayspine Island. Dusk was approaching. Bringing along a confused-looking star cluster, he set off to retrieve his automaton. When Chen Guochen landed on Grayspine Island, he found the automaton still tirelessly digging stone and soil, surrounded by large mounds of collected resources. He walked over and tapped its metal casing. Wrap up work. Time to head home. The optical sensors flashed. Mechanical arms retracted. The automaton shrank back to palm size with a series of clicks and hopped onto his palm. Chen Guochen stored it in his inventory and turned toward the shore. The return voyage went smoothly. Daylight still lingered when the boat reached the shore. Chen Guochen carried 2 grilled fish and half a sack of bread to sit before the villa entrance. Star Cluster immediately hopped onto his lap and stared at the fish. He tore off half a fillet and offered it. Star Cluster snatched it, tilted its head, swallowed, then opened its beak again for more. You certainly know how to enjoy food. He fed Star Cluster while eating his own grilled fish, opening the regional chat channel to browse casually. Messages scrolled rapidly, yet he noticed the atmosphere had shifted drastically from previous days. Ever since the system announcement releasing new islands, despair and panic in the channel had faded, replaced by constant discussion. Guys, I landed on a new island swarming with monsters. I barely escaped alive. I found spirit plants on a small island today. I've struck it rich. Anyone willing to trade for iron? I've got plenty of food to offer. Stay safe while you're out exploring. On my way back today, I spotted a massive creature swimming across the sea. No clue what it was. Has anyone found an island with plenty of easily harvestable resources? Nice try. Do you really think the system would be that generous? Funny enough, the island I've been exploring is just like that. It's full of low-level minor creatures, with abundant ore and plant life. Curse your lucky streak. Has anyone upgraded their island to Tier 2 yet? Of course we have. We'd be in real trouble otherwise. I'm gathering materials for the Tier 3 upgrade. I've been digging stone and dirt non-stop. I also heard upgrading to Tier 3 lets you add special transcendent materials, right? Don't get your hopes up. Just unlocking Tier 3 will be hard enough. I haven't even seen any transcendent materials. The upgrade should still work fine without them anyway. It turned out that keeping busy slowly chased away negative feelings. The shadow of the disaster still loomed, but at least not everyone was sitting around waiting for death. He closed the regional channel and switched to the group chat with Zhou Minuan. The group was far livelier than it had been at the start.